What's up, Goobs? It's gonna be a chill day today. Super chill. I have to do something real quick. For some reason, the console commands aren't working. I'm trying to set up the... If we ever need to, like, skip ahead, I guess I could do it by map. Not that I remember every map. Maybe we'll just do it by map. Because I don't know if we're going to get through the whole game today, but I want to check out all of the new commentary. Which is 3.5 hours. But that's the commentary itself, right? That's recorded. And then you have to play the game. So we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll just play maps. If I ever want to skip ahead. But we can take it super slow at the beginning. Let's go check it out. Let's go check it out. Where's my sound? Where's my game? Yo, we're gonna have a DirectX 9 problem. With fucking OBS. Let me see. I guess I could try it as like, I don't know, do I have to use game capture? We'll see. I could try windowed. You think that works? So what's new? Oh, let me check the thingy again. 1 second. Also, I see that OBS didn't align it correctly. Hell yeah. Let me read the post. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen. God damn, I hate OBS. All right. So what are we looking at? So I know they merged the episodes. I watched the documentary. I cried like 3 times. The very end of it was whack. Holy shit. Lost Coast is in the extras. Yep, we saw the episodes. That doesn't really say much, but we understand how developer commentary works. Yeah, I don't really care about any of these little patches. It's not like I've kept up with anything for so long. I just wanted to see if there was a settings improvement, isn't there? I don't want to see map updates. Yeah, I don't know. Just there's a couple new like rendering things. But I saw that there was like an aim assist. Should we try it? Enhanced. No, I'm not gonna use aim assist. Alright, let's check it out. Invulnerable, yeah, yep. Oh my god, I haven't done this commentary shit in so long. Probably since Half-Life Alyx, really. Oh my gosh.
Rise and shine.
It's kind of loud. Hold up. Just a peek. Just a little bit.
Mr. Freeman, rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job.
You want to listen to my really loud Japanese soda drink while
and all the effort
when you watch Half-Life 2 intro
would have gone to waste until, well,
oh my god,
just say your hour
Black Mesa
again.
It has come again. 20 years later. Not that I played this when it came out. I did not. Nowhere near when it came out.
In the world.
I also played the VR.
Mr. Freeman.
The Half-Life 2 VR.
Wake up and smell the ashes.
We're gonna do a lot of listening. A lot. Wow. Wow. Hey. What's up? We're going through some nostalgia today, just for me. Okay. It's gonna be a lot of listening. Is this still a little too loud? Like, jeez. Jesus.
Well.
All right, that's a little too soft. I'm gonna get this right now, and then we're never gonna touch it ever again. I saw that Rookie was streaming too. Streaming silly, stupid games.
I'm Gabe Newell, and welcome back to Half-Life 2.
It's way too quiet now. Why is the commentary so quiet?
It's been a long 20 years since its release. In this anniversary update, we've tried to respond to as many of the community's requests as possible. And while this might not be the absolute #1 request from fans, we often hear how much people would like a commentary mode.
Getting pissed off
so
by my hair.
To finally make that happen. Not only was it a challenge to remember many of the details of Half-Life 2's development, but it's not easy to crack open decades.
He's getting drunk.
And wonder what the hell you were thinking way back then. Along with the dev commentary, we've cleaned up a bunch of old bugs and tried to leave things in better shape.
Old bugs? How am I going to speedrun?
This time, we had the luxury of knowing how things turned out in the end. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol.
He's getting drunk?
To stop a commentary node.
Oh, it's Friday, isn't it?
Rotating node,
holy shit.
Again. And please, let me know what you think. You can reach me at Gabe N.
We're definitely going to send an email after today.
And have fun.
Physics objects. It might be hard to remember it now, but back when Half-Life 2 came out, small objects in games, like these bits of trash, were usually static. As in, they didn't really move, or if they did, it was in a very simple way. If you were lucky, they might break apart into some sprites if you hit them. One of the goals for this...
Alright, I'm smidging it up a little bit. The commentary just is way too quiet.
To really make it clear to players that these
Twisted Tea.
properly, physically, actually
that's okay.
In Half-Life 2.
I like Arnie's more.
Dropped, thrown, broken, moved by other forces, you name it.
Here
we're starting with just a small thing, showing that trash is being drawn by the arrival of the train, or, more specifically, an invisible volume that's triggered by the player leaving the train.
Ow!
Train station. The beginning of a Half-Life game has a big job to do. We have to introduce players to a new world while teaching them how to interact with it. Players need to quickly grasp what's happening, who the key players are, what threats they
Chinese
face,
food.
and how they fit into it all. Above all else, it has to be as fun and interactive as possible. Nailing this takes a lot of iteration and play testing,
No!
especially on the small moments that make up a bigger picture of the game. In this section, we'll highlight some key moments, game design problems, and a few play tests where things didn't quite go as planned.
You know what's crazy to me? Like, since we've been playing Infra, this game is still much more beautiful than Infra. Even though it's the exact same vibe in a lot of ways. And Infra came out in 2018.
Metro cop shoving citizens. We've only walked a few feet and we're already got problems to solve. We're introducing the Metro cop, an enemy that eventually we're going to ask players to kill.
You don't have to watch
giving you a
both
glimpse of the
streams.
world they're
If you're
stepping
not
into.
interested in Half-Life
It's a
2,
simple, clear moment that shows
you know,
the relationships between the Metro
I'm not going
cops
to do
and
much
citizens
talking
by
today,
extension
hopefully,
the
but
player.
at least not right now.
At the same
It'll be very
time,
on and
we
off.
decided to
It's up to you.
reinforce the existence of the core physics
You can hang out if
simulation,
you want.
showing the way in which NPCs can
I will
casually
read, I
interact
will
with
chat.
objects in the world. Seeing something like a suitcase
I wanted to go
not
through
being
this today.
dislodged was pretty novel back then. These moments at the train station where we combined multiple goals were the most successful. They felt natural, like the game wasn't pausing just to teach you a lesson.
I thought so much of City 17 that
Yeah, look how much freedom I got. Apparently it's not against the rules to throw trash around.
Thoughtfully provided by our benefactors.
What's this one?
I've been proud.
Sweeping Vortigons. Another key moment of storytelling and another nod to the physics system. Here, we're showing how Vortigons fit into this new world, which is a big shift from their Half-Life 1 role as enemies. Like so many moments in Train Station, the Sweeping Vortigon came from our constant hunt for ways to show characters interacting naturally with the physics system. Why just tell players Vortigons are friendly now, when you can show one casually sweeping the floor and knocking around some simulated objects? Nothing signals.
You're a
"Hey,
simulated
don't shoot me
object."
this time around, like someone
Stop.
wanting to tidy up.
Alright, I think I have a solution. Also, my day's been very uneventful. One second. Uno momento. Yeah, I haven't really had the best day. This is the highlight of my day. Just been an off day for me. One second though. Alright, sorry about that. It snowed and you went on a nice
Welcome.
walk. That's awesome.
Welcome to City 17.
Did you walk your dogs?
You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration here in the citadel so thoughtfully provided by our benefactors. I've been proud to call City 17 my home. And so, whether you are here to stay or passing through on your way to parts unknown, welcome to City 17. It's safer here.
Alright, anyways. Oops. What do we want? Oh, I don't remember how to do it. Ah, fuck me. Can you not do mouse 4? Why can't I remember how to bind mouse 4? It's M4, isn't it? It's been way too long. Hold on, let me look it up. Jesus Christ. It's plus. Oh my god, it was plus. Right, bind plus mouse 4. Hold on. Am I stupid? No. God damn, why can't I remember? Holy hell. I swear to God, I was doing it right. It's not plus. Do you have to use... God damn, it's been way too long. Way too long. Goosehead zoomies. In the snow? Is he a snow thrower? Or maybe it wasn't that crazy, was it? Maybe it's this. I think is it mouse 4 or volume? I don't know. I don't see anything on it right now. The internet sucks. Google sucks. Yeah. I did have it right. God damn. Do volume 0.25, right? There we go. Now I could just make it quieter when we're not listening to a commentary and louder when we are. That's all I care about. Holy hell. You're gonna send me a vid? Alright. Sounds good. Get me through!
Citizens. When it came time to design the human citizens of City 17 and the world outside the city, we chose to include a variety of races, ages, and genders. This not only provided narrative context for the Combine's enslavement of all of humanity, but it was also important to us that anyone playing the game could see themselves represented in the resistance, with everyone on Earth united against the Combine. While we found a number of candidates to use as reference in creating these citizens through our daily lives and connections, we ultimately resorted to advertising in the Seattle Times classifieds to reach the desired range of faces that we'd envisioned.
Fuck. Too distracted. Let me know if you sent me a vid.
Natural storytelling. To achieve our world-building and storytelling goals throughout the train station, we needed a natural way to deliver dialogue without it feeling too gamey or requiring tutorials. We noticed players often approached
no
NPCs to get a
tutorials.
closer look, so we turned that into an opportunity for the NPCs to acknowledge the player and deliver their lines. This kept interactions low-key, which was essential since the citizens aren't exactly too cheerful or lively. The simplicity of this approach also aligned with one of Half-Life's core storytelling goals, making the narrative responsive to the player's interest. Some players want to dig into every detail, while others just want to know what to do next. Giving players control over how much story they want to engage with, without it blocking progress, is a goal we always try to maintain in a Half-Life game. Plus, the less complicated a feature is to implement, the more of it we can include.
Don't drink the water. They put something in it to make you forget. I
Wow.
don't remember how I got here.
You sent it? Alright. I'll check it out in a minute.
Welcome. Welcome to City.
Early tech planning. Shipping a game always teaches us a lot. We finally get to find out which choices we made were good ones, and which were ones we should do differently next time. So after Half-Life 1, when we sat down to start thinking
So much
about
talking.
what kind of sequel we could build, we had all kinds of player feedback to digest. From it, we tried to build a master list of things that Half-Life 2 was going to focus on. We didn't try to design a specific player experience. Instead, we found it more useful to approach the question from a technological standpoint. Black Mesa's security guards and scientists had worked well. What could we do if we pushed it really, really hard on characters? We liked our interactive storytelling. What could we build that would allow us to do even more of it, and a greater variety? The exploration and interaction with the Black Mesa was compelling to players. Maybe a physics system would allow us to take that further. In all these areas, we tried to imagine the best version of it could look like years in the future, and back solve from that a set of technological steps that might get us there.
Well, it still looks amazing. Or maybe I have a bias.
Storytelling. Creating a sense of immersion was a core principle in our approach to Half-Life 1's
It looks like most of these are going to be in the beginning anyways, so
self-imposed constraints of never,
we'll
or
skip
at least
maps.
very rarely, taking control away from the player and of keeping the player's avatar silent. These limitations made storytelling more challenging at times, but we felt it was important to stay with them for Half-Life 2. Our hope was that by maintaining these principles, we'd push ourselves to explore deeper, more interactive storytelling.
It's safer here.
Let me out. Let me out. All right, let me see the vid.
This must be a mistake. I got a standard relocation coupon just like everybody else.
It looks like he can smell another dog in the snow.
In Half-Life 1, security guards and
Characters.
scientists could best be described as archetypes, not individuals. They were abstractions of characters that matched the visual fidelity we could achieve at the time. But as our technology improved with Half-Life 2, we saw an opportunity to move beyond abstractions. The increased visual fidelity of the character models, combined with improvements in animation, made us believe we could focus on creating individual characters, people you would actually care about. We allowed ourselves to write real dialogue and have characters deliver it in a way that felt realistic enough for players to not think about them as pawns in a video game, and hopefully propel our narrative forward. In 2001, a couple of years into development, we were energized by Japan Studios' Eco. Directed by an animator, it blew us away with its reliance
Eco?
on characters as the key connection to the player, giving us the courage to keep pushing forward.
What is that?
Yeah, you and me both, Doc. He was about to board the express to
He
Nova
fell down and
Prospekt.
got sad. That is so funny.
I'm thinking.
Alex is around here somewhere. She would have
Too funny.
Well, as
Hold
long
up.
as he stays away from checkpoints, we should be okay. Listen, I gotta go, Doc. We're taking enough chances as it is.
very well. And, Gordon, good to see you.
Okay, Gordon. You're gonna have to make your own way to Dr. Kleiner's lab. Oh, man, that's what I was afraid of. Get in here, Gordon, before you blow my cover.
Get here. Hold on. We got a node.
Some stuff.
Blocking tutorials. At times, we need to be certain the player has learned something.
He looks so
And the standard
upset.
method, at least in game development, not in life, is to trap them behind a gate of some kind, where the player must demonstrate their knowledge to be able to continue. We try to disguise these gates as something natural, so it doesn't feel like the game has come to a halt. Of course, time, resources, or the environmental context itself can make that tricky. In this case, we needed to teach the players how to move objects, so a simple stacking puzzle seemed like the best solution. We tested more complex designs, but they ended up being less effective at teaching the
There's so
actual
many times where you move objects before this point in the game, though, or at least have the opportunity.
Blocking tutorials too. There are two failures of note in this tutorial. First, players can break it by tossing all the boxes out the window, which is obviously not great. This leaves them stuck and unable to continue, which we consider a game-stopping bug that must be fixed. A clean solution would have been to tweak the window or crate sizes so that the player could fit through but not the crates. The problem
Yo,
was
what's up,
that Block
Radix?
really only caught this problem late in development, and making even a simple change like
You were
that
going through the
had
new
real
Half-Life 2
game-breaking
update,
consequences,
the
right
anniversary
before
stuff.
launch, no less. Also, this issue was purely theoretical. We'd never actually seen players do it. Our playtests of the design space had gone smoothly, with players learning what they needed and moving on. So changing the room's design this late in the game could have disrupted that success in ways that we couldn't foresee, so we opted for a more conservative fix rather than something elegant. If you're curious, try tossing all the boxes out the window and see what happens.
Let's do it! I can't get those ones. 1, 2.
Blocking Tutorials 3. The second failure in this tutorial space is a case of misteaching, where we accidentally teach the players something we didn't intend. This can be hard to avoid without extensive playtesting, since the game is always teaching, even when it's not by design. We cover a more extreme example of this later in Train Station. Some cases of misteaching are critical to fix, like if the player learns the wrong way to use a weapon or interact with a common element of the game. But this one was more subtle. While teaching players to move objects, we also taught them to stack physics objects to escape a space. Normally that's fine, except we don't deploy that puzzle later in the game, and teaching something irrelevant just clutters up their mental toolkit and makes it harder to readily keep useful things in mind later on. Worse, stacking objects to escape the play space become a problem later on, something we had to actively prevent in multiple areas. With so many physics-based objects in the game, blocking this behavior without putting ceilings everywhere wasn't really an option. In the end, we hoped players wouldn't overthink this early lesson, and when playtests showed players getting stuck later on...
Oh shit!
Blocking
Whatever. Whatever. Ow! My ears.
Fall damage. Teaching players how to do things is an essential thing for the game to do. But for them to make confident decisions, they also need to understand the more subtle rules. This small moment covers two of those. First, it shows how far the player can fall without taking damage.
Goddamn tree.
Second, it introduces a bit of the game's vocabulary, how the game will communicate with them. Players often worry about taking fall damage, but they also worry about taking a step that they can't take back. So here, a welcoming crate to land on signals that dropping down is safe and it's the way forward. And when the crate breaks, it reinforces the physics.
Have you never played Half-Life
It's
2?
likely the first time players will see that larger objects can be broken apart.
Like for reals? And don't worry, man, it's alright. Oatmeal again? Damn, maybe you need fiber. Your body's like craving fiber. Craving it. I feel like I knew all this commentary already, though. So, wait, was that the last one?
Fall damage. Teaching players
Yeah, that was the last one. Wow, you haven't actually played? That's crazy. I'm just gonna go from map to map instead of playing through the whole game, so we're just gonna do the dev commentary stuff. What? I don't know when the next one would start. This is the actual game. We're just doing... So there was an anniversary update today. And I'm going through all the new dev commentary stuff. And yes, there will be spoilers. So this is the very beginning of the game, so... You definitely should go play it. For reals. For reals. Go play it right now. Why not? I got distracted. I don't know... Hold on. It's root canal, but is it root canal? I don't want to skip too much. Like, which one? Which one is it? All right, man. No worries. Going to Gleba. Hell yeah. Factorio mode. Let's go. Let's go. I've been eating oatmeal, by the way, every single morning, and then, yeah. God, why can't I find the fucking... I don't remember exactly every single map, right? I want a list with pictures. Like, I have a list, but it's just the names of the maps, right? This is really annoying. Whatever, I'm just gonna go down the list. Because this... We're on number 2, right? Like, if we skip ahead... It's up here. Okay. So, I'm guessing the next map is this one. With the dev commentary. Why do we have to explore this way?
You showing up on this day in particular.
Yo, guess right.
Kleiner's Lab. Kleiner's Lab was the first piece of storytelling we worked on, and the one that took the longest to figure out. In addition to its role in launching the player into the game, it eventually became the unifying vision for the development team in terms of storytelling. As we began building our characters and narrative delivery around the player, many questions arose, all of which felt like major risks to the game. Would players be able to extract the important information from the scene? Could we get them to care about these characters? How would we support players with varying levels of investment in the story? How costly would it be to produce a scene like this? And how many more would we need? These and many more were questions we couldn't answer until we built enough of the scene and tested it with a lot of playtesters. Frustratingly, unlike many other problems we face, these weren't questions we could confidently answer until we had done significant work. We can often test gameplay ideas with low-fidelity prototypes, but if a player isn't invested in our storytelling when the characters are just gray blocks, how confident can we be that they'll care once the characters are fully realized?
Choreography. The system we built and iterated on to deliver Half-Life 2's storytelling was internally called choreo, short for choreography. Early on, we found it useful to imagine we were writing a play where one of the actors didn't...
Holy hell, there's so many.
We needed a system that could control all the other actors, moving them around the stage, delivering their performances and speaking their lines. To handle this, the other actors would need to seamlessly mix our directorial commands with dynamic responses to the player's position and behavior. Timing was clearly going to be a major challenge, as any part of the scene might need to lengthen, contract, or even pause, depending on what the player was doing.
Yeah, like right now.
The primary tool we built to power
Pausing.
the choreo system was called FacePoser, an inaccurately named program that allowed our animators to lay out the entire structure of our scenes along a timeline. The timeline contained a series of choreo commands for the actors, along with all the necessary information for them to perform those commands. By layering these commands on the timeline, animators could easily describe how an actor might need to face one thing while talking towards another and walk to a different location, all at the same time. But the timeline wasn't a fixed linear sequence. Actors would follow their commands, but they had to respond dynamically to the world around them. An actor might take longer to move to a location if the player is in the way, or they might need to wait to deliver a line because another actor has been delayed by the player. Base Poser allowed us to rapidly iterate on scenes, trying different layouts, dialogue deliveries, and timings. This ability to quickly experiment and adjust proved critical in finding the right performances to achieve our character and narrative goals.
Dude. There's so many in here.
Where did she get to? Lamar, come out of there!
I'm gonna watch this.
Oh, hello, Alex. Well, almost all right. Lamar has gotten out of her crate again. If I didn't know better, I'd suspect Barney of trapping and... My goodness. Gordon Freeman. It really is you, isn't it?
I found him wandering around
Oh
outside.
my goodness.
Bit of a troublemaker, isn't he?
We owe a great deal to Dr. Freeman, even if trouble does tend to follow in his wake.
Yeah, you better watch your ass.
I must say, Gordon, you come at
Lab interactivity. In our choreo scenes, we have the player trapped for a bit, allowing us to focus on the characters and narrative. To accommodate different players, some deeply invested in the story, others unable to stand still for more than a second, we felt like we needed a constant stream of interesting details on screen. We scattered narrative elements throughout the environment, ensuring some were interactive, essentially toys for the player to tinker with. In some cases, we embedded further storytelling into these, like the cactus mini teleporter hinting at the upcoming teleporter failure. It was a delicate balance, too much visual
A
input
failure?
to distract players from the core of the scene. Ultimately, Kleiner's lab played it safe with interactivity, as it was the first major choreo scene. Later, in Eli's lab, we explored it more deeply, ensuring the characters themselves paid attention to what the players were tinkering with.
Damn.
I'll give you the honor.
I missed this one?
Choreo commands. This debug visualization shows the two most common choreo commands actors receive throughout a scene, internally known as look-ats and move-tos. Actors are given
Look at and
lines to
move
look
to.
at, sometimes more than one at
I
a
feel like I
time,
have seen this a long
and then
time
try
ago.
to focus on the one that makes the most sense given their current state. At the same time, they might be receiving move-to commands, which tell them to move to a location and face a specific direction or object. Even these seemingly simple commands involve a lot of complexity. A scene might require an actor to talk while typing on a keyboard, all while looking at an object the player is holding. Since we couldn't predict where the player would be during playback, authoring scenes like this required us to break each element of the scene into separate pieces and layers. These could then be reassembled as needed during playback, based on the player's actions and interrupted if necessary.
Well, Gordon.
Delivery. It took a lot of iteration and playtesting to strike the right balance of information and emotional connection in our major choreo scenes. Each scene had a lot of information we needed to convey to the player, but we couldn't just have characters spouting exposition. Players would start thinking of them more as signposts than as people. We needed to take the time to let the characters interact with each other, allowing the player to observe the relationships. At the same time, we had to expand upon the world, giving the player a sense of everything that had happened while they were gone. All this had to be done carefully, without taking too long. We wanted the game to work for players who were less invested in the narrative. Animation became a powerful tool in communicating the emotional connections between characters, often conveying the depth of a moment quickly without overstating it. Humor was another commonly used tool, helping to puncture a setup and disarm the player when things got a bit too heavy.
Did that one just appear? Probably.
Time to suit up. In the Half-Life 1 era, player goals in FPS games were still largely about fighting and defeating an obviously evil enemy. It was hard to get players to care about characters when they were as low fidelity as they were in Half-Life 1. With the planned improvements in character fidelity for Half-Life 2, we wanted to take a shot at making characters the driving force of the narrative. Our goal was for the player's motivations to align with those of our characters, for the player to care about these people, their hopes and fears, and to want them to succeed. With this in mind, we were able to assemble our approach to character and dialogue. We would create a set of characters who liked and cared about each other, hoping that the player would feel the same. These characters would interact in a way that felt inclusive, like a group of old friends who see the player as one of them, just someone who's been away for a while. The characters demonstrated realistic emotional connection with each other. We believe we can build an emotional connection with the player as well.
Gordon, if you please, I'm eager to see if your old suit still fits.
Yeah, be patient. We're doing a listening session.
Character reaction. Figuring out what characters should react to and how was an ongoing challenge. At the core, we always want the game to respond to player input. However, any response from the game can be seen as a reward by the player. So, what characters react to and what they ignore teaches the player about the kind of input the game expects. As a result, we made sure to respond to things we wanted more of, like players tinkering with devices in the lab, and ignored behaviors we wanted less of, like players repeatedly slapping Clanner in the face with a box over and over again. Seriously, we watched a playtester do it for 5 minutes straight.
5.
Gordon, the longer you delay, the greater the danger to us all.
Archetypes.
5 minutes.
We wanted to create narrative links
Holy
between
shit.
Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 through our characters. Our idea was to design individuals who felt like representations of Half-Life 1's archetypes, so that players might find them familiar, almost as though they'd met them in Half-Life 1 at some point that they couldn't quite remember. We based Dr. Kleiner on the scientist model we felt was the most iconic, and his personality was largely shaped by Hal Robbins, whose voice and performances had defined the Half-Life 1 scientists. One day, when we were in the thick of trying to figure out this character, Dr. Kleiner's face came into focus as we happened to share an elevator with an accountant from an office on another floor of our building. And looking at him, it was clear that this is Dr.
I saw that in the comments or in the
He
documentary.
was receptive when we asked if we could photograph him as a character.
Can we take a picture of you?
Constructing believable human motion for our characters out of many discrete layers of animation required a lot of technological iteration. Even simple actions like turning to look at something or walking to a location became more complex when combined with the need to dynamically respond to the player and the requirements of choreo commands.
Look at that
For
noggin.
example, turning to look at something had to be fully composed, allowing a character to use any combination of its eyes, head, shoulders, upper torso, or full body to face a target. In Half-Life 1, human
This
characters
build.
had their bodies separated into upper and lower halves, allowing them to walk in one direction while facing another. However, this approach was too abstract for Half-Life 2's characters. Instead, our animators created walking animations in all 8 directions of the compass, which could then be smoothly blended together at runtime.
I wonder
The longer you delay,
what
the
is he
greater
like
the danger
supposed to
to
be
us all.
looking at here? Alright, I'm gonna grab it.
Voice actors. To create more responsive and multidimensional characters in Half-Life 2, we needed to evolve our approach to working with voice actors. While running through a script with a modicum of direction was sufficient for much of the NPC dialogue for Half-Life 1, for Half-Life 2, we decided to give the actors more of an opportunity to be involved in helping to define the characters and bring them to life. We provided much more story context to the actors, showing them the game world, the environments their characters inhabited, and the other characters they interacted with. We sought actors who could take all that information and synthesize it into their performances to elevate their characters beyond what we had imagined. We held multiple sessions with the main actors, allowing them to digest and build upon their characters over time. For scenes where characters are interacting with each other, we'd often cue an actor with performances from other actors in the scene to create a better sense of connection and flow. Though we'd arrive at the studio with a script and a plan for the recording session, we made sure that the actors felt empowered and had the space to bring their own ideas to the character and performances. Having animators attend the voiceover sessions also proved critical, as they were responsible for stitching the characters' dialogue together with physical actions and expressions to form the resulting choreo scene. Often, animators found that their plans for how a scene would play out evolved quite a bit after working with the voice actor.
Because it made it more real. How many's in here? 3?
Tone. Setting the right tone for our characters and their dialogue was critical. We aimed for a respectful, almost pleasant style of interaction with the player, while avoiding anything that felt too subservient. This balance was especially tricky with Alex, who needed to support the player without compromising the strength of her character, something we felt was crucial for players to respect her. Her relationship with Eli was a core driver of the player's motivations, so it was important that players liked her and wanted to help her. We also wanted to contrast the warmth and camaraderie between the player's allies against the hostilities of Breen and the Combine, inspiring a sense of righteous indignation in the players for the battles ahead.
I'm collecting all of the physics objects into a pile.
Scene interactivity. At certain points in our choreo scenes, we require the player to take action. Beyond simply giving them something to do and keeping them engaged, these moments served a few key purposes. First, they allow the player to catch up even if they've been distracted by something else in the environment. The scene could safely pause until the player completed the task, ensuring they were back and paying attention. At the same time, it let us position the player where we needed them, which was useful for framing the scene and making sure they saw something important. In some cases, we got double value out of these moments by using them to train the player. Here, they're learning to interact with plugs and sockets, a skill they'll need.
It says there's 15, but there's 2 left.
That's what you said last.
Alex's kiss.
Oh,
It's a
that was
small
15.
moment, but Alex's kiss on Eli's cheek was important. Eventually, we're going to ask the player to save Eli, and we want them to care about him. To build that emotional connection, we needed to show the warmth and affection between Alex and Eli. We didn't want to oversell it with dialogue or make it too big of an event. It had to feel genuine, not performative. And we were able to iterate on the subtleties of this moment until it struck just the right note.
Just the right note.
Monitors. We use monitors a lot for storytelling in Half-Life 2 in the episodes. So much so that we even make fun of ourselves for it. The problem is they're just too damn useful. They're fantastic for expanding the world by showing events happening elsewhere, and they provide an easy way to have characters talk without needing to explain how they all got to the player's location. Anyone who's ever written any kind of story, especially one with an ensemble cast, understands the unique frustration of trying to create natural reasons for all of your characters to come together in the same place. In this case, we were really happy with how the monitor allowed Alex to teleport away and then quickly appear in Eli's lab, making everything feel real and connected.
That's all of them for this. Whoa! Whoa!
Did it work? Thank goodness. My relief is almost palpable.
Fantastic work, isn't it?
Well, I can't take all the credit. Dr. Freeman proved
Nirvana.
an able assistant.
Let's go ahead and bring Gordon through now.
Right you are. Speak to you again in a few moments.
Good job, Gordon. Throwing that switch and all. I can see your MIT education really pays for itself.
That's so rude, by the way.
Gee, thanks.
Gordon, as soon as you're in position, we'll send you to Eli's.
And not a moment too soon.
I'll skip maps after this.
Excellent. Initializing in 3, 2, 1. Barney, if you'd be so kind.
Good luck out there, Gordon.
Yes, indeed. We're ready to project you, Gordon. Bon voyage, and best of luck in your future endeavors. Final sequence.
Project me.
Hell, what is it?
It's your head. The freaking head out.
Lamber. He just wanted to be free. And he saw an opportunity.
I'm not sure. It seems to be some kind of interference. Something is drawing him away.
What's the meaning of this? Who are you? How did you get in here?
So dangerous.
Don't worry, Gordon.
There he is. Oh, we're losing it again.
The mailman saw. I'm all but certain it was.
I love that the computer itself interacts. Like it reacts, I mean. That's a classic.
Behind you. Shut it down. Shut it down.
I love it. That's a lower volume than them actually talking. What a classic. Hold up. Alright, what's the next map? Did I close it? I fucking closed it. No, I didn't. Probably canals. Would it be canals? Yeah.
Metro Cop scene. This is another scene designed to make it clear that the Metro Cops are the bad guys, except this time the player has a weapon and can finally do something about it. That something comes out of the barrel of a gun. We knew we needed the player to feel righteous, and this moment was part of creating that. The Metro Cops are still human, unlike the rest of the Combine in the game, so we felt like we had to go the extra mile in making sure the player's actions...
He's waiting patiently with me. Ow! Take his gun. Take his gun.
They'll be looking for you now. You'd better run. There's nothing else you can do here.
Where's the next one?
Staircase. There are situations throughout the game that stem from simple and quite straightforward design goals, and this staircase features two of them. The first was to frame the Citadel as it awakened, showing the player they stirred up the hive. The second was to showcase our ragdoll system. While it's standard now, in 2004 it was still a novelty to see bodies tumble realistically, and stairs provided a perfect stage to make that happen.
Stop. Owie.
City 17 awakens. The early train station section was designed to make the city feel indifferent toward the player, as if Gordon is just another nameless, faceless citizen, ripe for subjugation. But during the tenement raid and rooftop chase, the city identifies the player as an anomaly and starts to stir. Now, with the player as the aggressor, the city fully turns its attention on them. The Overwatch PA system, first heard during the raid, played a key role in delivering this message. If players listen closely, there's a lot of information about the city's awareness. Even when players didn't pay attention, though, the audio treatment still conveyed the emotional message we were aiming for.
Oh, I missed explosions. Fuck.
Explosive barrels. Here, we introduce explosive barrels, a staple of first-person shooters, but with a new twist. The second pistol shot sets the barrel on fire, starting a timed detonation. A third shot will detonate the barrel...
Is there not another one?
This way, players could either delay the explosion or trigger it right away, depending on the situation. Players may want to feed an explosive barrel to a barnacle and then shoot it twice as a handy way to safely dispatch a cluster of them. The delayed explosion also made for more interesting chain reactions between multiple barrels. Exploding barrels were a fan favorite in the series, but also were internally favored by level designers who often felt like the game could never have enough of them.
Last I played this was in VR. I'm thinking like VR makes you feel like you're in the world more, but this just feels better in every way. Let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in.
Scanners presented a tricky game design challenge. While we liked how their dystopian presence helped convey the Combine occupation as an
Where'd he go?
oppressive surveillance state, we didn't actually want them to shoot at the player. We found that aiming into the sky to hit a small mobile enemy with a constant height advantage was something we couldn't make fun. Since we loved their role in the story,
Break the board.
we decided that in combat, scanners would serve primarily as eyes, alerting nearby enemies to the player's presence. A feature we reinforced with sound effects from the soldiers. Beyond that, they'd only be able to harass the player with bright lights and occasionally dive bomb after taking enough damage.
Lambda caches. Technically, the first Lambda cache is at Kleiner's lab, but this is the first one the player finds on their own. We added Lambda caches to encourage exploration and to hint players where hidden resources could be found, with the fiction being that they were being placed by the Resistance as part of their underground rebellion. In Half-Life, the contents of supply crates were predetermined by the level sign. In Shell 2, we introduced adaptive item crates that give the player whatever they are low on at the time, based on resource targets set by the level designer.
Wow, so innovative.
Overwatch. During development, we generated the Overwatch voice using a free text-to-speech tool, but as we neared shipping, we realized we didn't actually have the rights to use it, so we held auditions with voice actors to find someone who
Thank
could
God,
match
too.
the qualities we liked in the generated lines. Didn't take long before we found Ellen McLean, whose delivery was exactly what we were looking for. In her sessions, we played the generated lines for her to mimic, though in her own style. She was a bit sarcastic at first, given that she was being asked to replicate such a robotic delivery, but years later when she returned for her iconic role as GLaDOS in Portal, she'd found a way to creatively integrate that tone into her.
I'm boarding the window. God, why?
Pistol design. The standard pistol is the workhorse of the game, functioning not only as the first range weapon you learn to use, but also as a method to interact with physics and destructible objects at a safe distance for the entirety of the game. To help make it feel more responsive and fun to use, the pistol employs a refire mechanic that's unique to it in the game. The gun will fire as fast as the player can click their input button, meaning that they feel an instant response to their input, and the faster they can click, the faster they can shoot.
It does have a max speed though. That still hit me. Did I miss one? I don't think so, right? That was 8? 7. Where's the next one? Was it back there? Or was it on the train? I didn't see if it was in the hallway. No. Stop. Stop shooting me, please. Ow. What was that timing? I thought they were both gonna blow up. Good dad. Goober. Freaking goober.
Shatter glass. When designing early levels where there are fewer mechanics in the player's toolkit, we found that it's just as engaging to spotlight new technical features instead, as we did here with breakable glass. For the shattering effect, glass was divided into a grid of small squares, allowing us to track which were intact or broken, and to blow out larger sections once enough squares were no longer connected. Each square was rendered with a unique texture based on the status of its neighboring squares, creating the sharp, jagged edges between broken and intact glass. While breaking glass is now commonplace in games, it was something we hadn't seen much back when we were making Half-Life 2, and we're incredibly happy with the level of
How's it hitting his tummy?
dynamicism they brought to the game.
How's it hitting his tummy? Can't physic object the glass though. Why? Too strong. It's too strong. Hey!
Helicopter Peekaboo. The Combine Attack Helicopter as central antagonist was something we wanted to develop throughout the entire chapter. The relentless chopper became a character in its own right. Here, if you listen and look overhead, you can hear its engine and see it flying along the train tracks and into the distance. This first glimpse is a small piece of foreshadowing, with its presence becoming more pronounced over time, until eventually you're squaring off against it.
Ow!
Iterative passes. Some chapters of the game, such as the on-foot sections of the canals in Ravenholm, were developed in multiple passes.
This dude's Mike.
We found that handing off maps in this way led to greater variety in the experience, and a higher density of interesting moments, as each Cabal added their unique touches to the maps. In the on-foot portion of the canals, the first pass established the art direction and the player path, along with the broad strokes of the experience and some major beats. But the team-wide alpha playtest identified insufficient tension and a somewhat monotonous experience here. In our second pass, we returned to the map solely focused on creating that tension and greatly increased the density of moment-to-moment scenarios.
What one was that one? 12? Whoa. Whoa. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. This is a scary door. Like, to me, it's just weird, creepy things like that.
The most complex shader we made for the game was the water shader, which made full use of the newly available programmable graphics cards. When water was present, the scene was rendered 3 times. First, the underwater world for refraction, second, a reflected view, and third, the parts above the water. When rendering the water surface, we blended the refractive and reflective views, showing more reflection at glancing angles using the Fresnel equation. We also tracked the ground depth below the water's surface, making it more transparent and less refractive in shallow areas. Additionally, we had to create 2 alternate water rendering techniques for lower-end graphics cards.
It's not that pretty, but your brain fills in the gaps, you know?
Without refraction or transparency, while low-end cards only rendered a partially transparent surface.
Like, you wouldn't even notice if you didn't just look. Or you weren't uber educated, or because no one memorizes that stuff actively. This is the last one.
Interstitial scenes. As playtesting progressed, we often found areas where players lost track of their goal, which isn't uncommon in a game like Half-Life. To address this, we added smaller interstitial scenes to help guide players along their path and reinforce their objective. After finishing the bulk of development on our larger choreo scenes, like Planner's Lab, putting these smaller scenes together became relatively straightforward. We discovered that using characters in these moments worked much better than relying on passive storytelling, or even some sort of reminder you'd find baked into a pause menu.
Good God!
This is the last one.
Guess those sirens are for you, huh? Good thing you found us.
Yeah.
You're not the first to come through here by
This is the Freeman. The Combine's reckoning has come.
This is the free man.
Just a lookout for the Underground Railroad. Main station's right around the corner.
Boxcar Bill. This small scene originally featured 2 human characters, but later in development, we replaced one with a Vortigaunt.
Development.
We wanted to show that Vortigaunts were coexisting with humans and resisting the Combine as well. We also introduced their ability to heal the player, although we didn't fully capitalize on that feature throughout the game.
You shoulda.
Became a useful narrative tool for keeping dialogue brief, as their hive mind justified their full knowledge of the world.
Oh shit. I'm stuck.
This meant they never had to ask questions, neatly sidestepping the challenge of writing dialogue for a silent protagonist.
That's it. It's so sad. Alright, hold on, I gotta piss. Then we'll continue. All right, what's the next one? I forgot. Who memorizes the names? Like, which one? Which one did I just do? Am I blind? Canals. Okay, yeah, we're here then. Is it, or is it before this? Is it before this? Maybe it's... It is.
Physics in puzzles. Often, simpler mechanics encountered earlier in the game are pulled from more complex ones as a form of training. The teeter-totter puzzle, the first physics-based contraption in the game, was actually derived from a later, more intricate washing machine puzzle in the canals. The teeter-totter uses the same principles of mass and ramps, but in a more straightforward way that players can directly interact with, helping them understand the game's physics and making later puzzles easier to tackle. This puzzle also highlights the analog nature of the physics system, with the placement of cement blocks and the player's own weight both factoring into the solution.
You're a weight. You're a solution. How many cement blocks? 3. 3 just for the board too. Oh my, hold on. Oh my, hold on. This one only has 5. Maybe I'll go map to map now.
Combine attack helicopter. Players have had glimpses before, but here's where we fully introduce the main boss, Combine attack helicopter. This chopper relentlessly destroys a player's cover, forcing them to move forward or risking them down. We wanted this sequence to feel tense and menacing, with the helicopter seeming far too powerful to confront directly, and maintaining that intensity through the canals until the final showdown in the reservoir. To achieve this, we heavily constrained the helicopter's movement based on specific gameplay goals. In this map, designed as a dash from cover to cover under helicopter fire, we created a winged path in the sky above the arena.
Stop.
The helicopter always travels to the farthest point on that ring from the player, keeping it visible and making it easier for us to place cover in just the right spots.
Stop.
Normal maps. Half-Life 2 was developed during an exciting time
Whoa.
for graphics, as the first programmable shader-supported graphics cards were hitting the market. Using this technology, we became one of the first games to implement normal maps, a technique that enhanced the lighting on surface geometry. The normal map described the surface's roughness, allowing each pixel of a polygon to be lit in a way that made surfaces appear bumpier and more detailed than ever possible in Half-Life 1.
Did I miss some? This one's 5? Wasn't... wait, what? Why does it show this one first? Weird. So where's the other ones? I don't need those. Move! I see that one, but where are the other ones? Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Ew. If this one is 4?
Autosave dangerous. In Half-Life 1, we had a set of autosaves throughout the game, hand-placed by level designers and triggered when the player reached some specific moment or position in the game. This ensured that the game was automatically saved for you as you traversed through Black Mesa's corridors. In Half-Life 2, we found ourselves needing a new tool. The problem arose in some of the more complex arenas we'd built. Some of those encounters would last for quite a while and features multiple sets of enemies. Others were long, sprawling mixes of exploration and combat without any clear separation between the two. We never want an autosave where the player is in danger of dying right after loading the game, because that could place the player in a death loop. If you played enough games back then, you definitely found yourself in this situation at least once. So unless we deliberately crafted pauses in every arena's flow, there wasn't always a safe place to put an autosave. After some experimentation, we implemented a feature called Autosave Dangerous. This was a level designer tool that combined an autosave with an associated time frame. When triggered by the level designer, it immediately saved the game, but kept the save off to the side, not available as a save game to load from. If the player then stayed alive for the specified time frame, then the save would be committed and used as the most recent autosave. This allowed level designers to put an autosave at a reasonable place or time in an arena, specify a time, like 30 seconds, and if the player was still alive for 30 seconds, the autosave would be used.
Interesting. So this one's 3?
Soundscapes.
That's weird.
In Half-Life 1, ambient sounds were placed by hand and then individually tuned. For Half-Life 2, we wanted more ambient sounds in our environment with higher quality and less manual effort for placement. So we built a system that we call the soundscape system. A soundscape is basically a small program that controls which ambient sounds play.
Oh, shit. Is that still going to be there?
Soundscapes.
Yo, it's still the same timing, too.
By hand and then individually tuned. For Half-Life 2, we wanted more ambient sounds in our environment with higher quality and less manual effort for placement. So we built a system that we call the soundscape system. A soundscape is basically a small program that controls which ambient sounds play, where they come from, and then how they behave in a specific environment. So flies buzzing, wind blowing, birds, a distant train, distant combat. The soundscape system could then randomly select and play these sounds, and also, really importantly, handle the smooth transition as the player moves through environments. Soundscapes can also contain other soundscapes, and that allows us to create reusable collections of sounds. So for instance, distant combat.
Why did they end this one short? There's so many bugs in this commentary. I don't think this map is gonna have any. I doubt it, at least. Yo, my volume isn't working now. Oh, it is. It's just insanely loud. No, there is. Okay. It's weird that some of them didn't have any, but
We're tearing up the railroad, covering our tracks. Looks like you're gonna be the last one through. Be glad you're not the guy they're looking for. Poor
Manhack Map. We called this guy Manhack Map. We wanted to give players the sense that hundreds of citizens inhabited the hidden nooks and crannies of City 17. At this point in the game, it had been a while since players had seen a citizen, and we wanted to explain the significance of the Manhacks, which was the first physics-based enemy that we created. In the original concept, there was a video arcade in the city where players could fly Manhacks around and attack virtual citizens. Eventually, players would discover that the Manhacks are real, and so were the citizens. As the Combine occupation became more fleshed out, this idea of a video arcade became an odd fit.
I'm glad they took away some stuff like that.
Some supplies to keep you going.
I just like the feel of the game the way it is. How many things were there? 3? There's only 3 on this map. Ow! The door hurt me. You still hit me. Oh my lord. I thought they all exploded. It was only the freaking back one. I wonder how sparse they're gonna be throughout the game. Especially since the first few maps, they were just freaking 15 of them nestled at the beginning. Ah, I need infinite freaking battery, dude. Need. I need. Is this one gonna be like super sparse? Oh, god damn. So slow. I can't believe they added so much. There's 3.5 hours throughout the whole game. That is insane. Some of these early ones are not as interesting, I would imagine, as some of the laters. God, I thought he died. I'm gonna die. Ow. My eyes. Mine eyes. Oh, I should open this. There's no more health. Damn. Oh, damn. Why is he not coming? Oh, he's behind. Here? Ow. Damn. I don't even remember that Lambda cache at all. I think I block out this entire section out of my mind at least. It's not my favorite. Where's the freaking... Are all the commentaries at the end? There's 3 of them on this map. Guess we're playing the whole game. I thought I could skip forward. Hey! Piss off! I can't see. Damn. Yo, the volume is nuts. I wish you could control the volume of the guns versus the volume of everything else. The guns are insanely loud. I have so much pistol ammo. Oh my god. Am I being silly? I hate the flashlight, dude. Wasn't it only an episode 2 thing? I don't even remember.
Explosive Barrel Factory. This room, filled with an absurd number of exploding barrels, inspires some good-natured debate within the team around how far to push the plausibility of our world. Frankly, one exploding barrel is probably too many in regards to realism. In the real world, barrels really shouldn't explode, even if you were to shoot them.
Why does that matter? It doesn't. Screw that guy. What? Give the crouch? Yo, where's my infinite stamina? Yes. Where's my infinite stamina command? I should do something like that. I kind of do wish that it wasn't so spread out. I wasn't planning on replaying the whole thing because it's pretty long. So, am I silly? Don't you just go into there? I'm being... I am being silly. It's been way too long. Oh my god. Can you not get up? I have to go all the way back up. I can't just get up from that little middle section. There's 0 point in that middle section. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's the last one. No. Piss off. Are they gonna come this way? Am I stupid? You don't cross here? Why do I remember being able to cross here? Back to basics. Yo, back to basics for reals. Ah. Jesus. All right, anyways. Get up. I'm so tired of you. What's the point of this? I can't even go in the water anyways, right?
Rising water. The floating bridge and wooden spools here introduce the concept of buoyancy as a tool for the player. In this case, it's not really a puzzle. It's just some fun for the player interacting with the physics system. But later, we revisit this gameplay element in the canals to raise a ramp for the airboat.
That's it? That's it? How many? How many do you think is in this section? 2? They only got 2 things to say in the whole section. I'm just kidding. Uh-oh.
In the early 2000s, we couldn't afford a general-purpose renderer with the broad capability of a modern engine. Instead, CPU, GPU, and memory limitations required highly specific solutions to rendering challenges so we could squeeze every bit of performance out of a player's hardware. As a result, Half-Life 2 actually has 3 different rendering engines. One for world geometry, another for outdoor terrain, and a third for dynamic entities like characters and objects. These 3 renderers had to support a complicated matrix of features: collisions, ray traces, decals, offline lighting, visibility calculations, and more. On top of that, each renderer needed to support DirectX 7, 8, and 9. The differences among these DirectX versions were significant, often requiring different data storage and rendering approaches. They even used different programming languages. Altogether, we essentially had 9 different renderers, each needing unique solutions, and getting them all to look consistent was one of the most challenging tech problems we faced during development.
So there's 7. That's good news. I don't think the game likes my volume binds. I think it's bugging out with some certain sounds. Because they're staying at max volume. That's okay. It sucks you don't get achievements for having dev commentary, but it's fine.
CPU Wild West. During development, we faced numerous decisions influenced by our choice of minimum spec, the least powerful CPU and GPU combination that would still deliver a good experience for customers. In the early 2000s, there was far more variety among GPUs than today, with wide differences not only in speed, but in fundamental approaches to rendering. But at the time, we had no real data on the hardware our customers were using. What CPUs and GPUs did they have? How much RAM? Which version of Windows? We reached out to Microsoft hoping they might know answers to questions like, how many DX7 cards are in use? Or DX8? Unfortunately, they didn't have the data either. Realizing we were at risk of making bad decisions without these insights, we developed an analysis tool that allowed players to report their hardware specs to us and integrated it into the early version of Steam. The data was so useful that we decided to make it public, launching the Steam Hardware Survey in April 2003.
It's dynamic shadows. With a focus on character and physics objects, we felt a dynamic shadow system was necessary to render them all in all their glory. In 2003, GPUs didn't have any dedicated shadow capabilities.
Only this has shadows.
So performance was a tricky problem. Our eventual solution went something like this, running every frame. First, find all the objects that might have shadows in view. Doing this meant figuring out which objects were in the view frustum, or slightly behind it, to catch entities that were off-screen but whose shadows might end up on-screen. Then we'd render a black shadow version of each one of those objects into a single shadow texture. For that render, we'd use the lowest level of detail model for the object to be as fast as possible. Finally, we'd use the shadow texture to draw each of the shadows into the player's view, darkening the already rendered pixels. We carefully cut around each shadow in that shadow texture to ensure that they correctly overlaid each other in the case where multiple shadows overlap. It's neat to look back on how we did these things, but ultimately we're a lot happier today, where GPU hardware makes it a much more straightforward problem.
Head crab canisters. Used head crab canisters are seen later in Ravenholm, so we decided to show them here to tell the story of how they're used by the Combine. The story is that the Combine have weaponized Zen fauna to use them against the humans. Burrowed headcrabs was added as a new feature for this section that was expanded into a larger area that is meant to show a citizen shanty that was decimated by the headcrab assault.
Damn. That was disappointing. Classic. Where's the next one? Hey, do you know where the next one is? Have you seen a speech bubble around here? Oh. Oh. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Oh, the rest of them are here? There wasn't one over there, right? Dude, we're going through it fast.
Airboat intro. This is where the player gets the first vehicle of the game, the airboat. We wanted to create a safe space for players to practice driving the airboat for as long as they wanted before moving on. The arena is sprinkled with opportunities for jumps and tricks, and we filled the arena with toxic slime to keep players in the airboat longer, while preventing them from leaving the vehicle behind.
Why would you have that node here? I guess it's kind of short.
Tutorial shader explosion. Rendering became much more complex during Half-Life 2's development with the addition of hardware shaders, small bits of code controlling how each pixel on a surface should render. In 2003, shaders were far more limited than today. Half-Life 2 era shaders lacked conditionals and had severe code size restrictions. This meant no if-else branching logic to adjust based on different conditions, and no large shaders with broad feature sets. Also, compiling shaders as needed was just too slow to be useful, so we had to pre-compile them. To work within these limits, we had to compute every possible shader combination and store each one individually as its own shader. For example, if a shader affected a surface based on a single light source, we'd need another shader version for 2 lights, another for 3, and so on. And it was combinatorial. If that shader also supported a normal map, we'd need 2 versions per light, one with a normal map and one without. With features like texture blending, vertex tinting, specular highlights, alpha testing, and various other light types, directional point and spotlights, our shader count exploded. By release, we had thousands of individual shaders. Shortly after, we released Lost Coast, adding HDR support, which doubled the shader count again. Once compiling shaders on the local developer's machine started taking too long, we switched to distributing the shader compiles over the entire network using VMPI. We also had a dynamic shader compilation mode that was useful for developing shaders.
There's only one left, and it's right there. And I don't remember if the map switches here or if it switches a little bit further ahead. So we can go find out. Is that gonna hurt me? Probably. Probably.
Fighting motion sickness. In early playtesting, many players developed motion sickness while driving the airboat. While trying to fix this, we discovered several factors that contributed to it.
That's a whole ass
Reducing the intrusion of the
washing
airboat
machine. Hell yeah.
So we made several passes on the model to pare it back. Maintaining a consistent frame rate helped as well, so it was important to keep an eye on performance in these sections. However, the single most important factor was eliminating view roll to maintain a more stable horizon no matter what the airboat was doing. One of the programmers on the team was super prone to motion sickness, and they valiantly offered to playtest
Oh my god.
to test our progress towards a solution.
I can't
Pretty sure they threw
jump anymore. I'm broken.
And their noble sacrifice.
Jesus, I'm done. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't load here. I don't remember loading. I just remember the maps. Do I skip forward? Yeah, I don't. So if I had to guess, this one has 0 commentary nodes. This would be too annoying to get them in both, right? So, but we can... No, there is some. They're just at the stops. Okay. That works for me. What? Why did it put me upside down? Oh, we didn't get to see the G-Man here. God damn it. God. My sprint is so annoying.
Airboat time. Finding the right balance between vehicle time and time on foot took some work. Driving at full speed propelled players through the world quickly, and in early playtests we felt that players were missing out on exploring and taking in the game's detail. Exploration and world examination are core values of Half-Life, so we didn't want the vehicle to eliminate that. To address this, we added periodic spots where players could get out and explore small pockets of dense detail. Additionally, as the physics system evolved, we were learning new ways to use it. These spots off the airboat let us introduce an element of discovery around physics, like dropping crates into the water or combining barrels to raise a ramp. This gave players a chance to interact with water and physics in different ways.
There's only 3 on this map. Which I guess is okay, because I'm pretty sure this one ends at the weird blockade building. Like a water treatment building. There's none there. I'm not gonna stop. Damn, I thought I could just get on it. Alright, fine.
Floating supplies. In the alpha playtest, the canals were sprinkled with floating supply crates that players could smash with the airboat to collect the supplies inside. The mechanics were somewhat gamey, but helped keep the flow of the gameplay going, allowing the player to resupply on the go. To help make the premise more plausible, we wanted to tell the story of how the floating crates ended up so conveniently placed along the player's path. This scene of the citizens dropping supply crates helped sell that fiction, while also making the canals feel more alive. It also made players feel more heroic and important to be helped by so many supporting characters.
Goddamn flashlight power. On my sprint. Get out of here. Get out of here. Alright. Alright, for sure. What is that? Oh. It looked weird when it was gray. Oh, damn it. I forgot I got the barrels out. Is that enough? I'm pretty sure. Oh my lord. Stop. Can I just TP to every single commentary node? I'm pacifist run. Wait. I have to make sure there's nothing here. Okay, we're good. I killed one. Whoops. I never noticed that screen before. On that building. That seems a little out of place. But I'm glad it's there. Oh, Lord. I swear, if I miss a node, I'm gonna be so mad. Don't touch me. I did, didn't I? I missed one. What was it? I said there was 3, right? Are you serious? I'm going back. Why would they do this? Putting nodes in the airboat section. Maybe it was back at the ramp? Oh man. Actually got it stuck. Actually, it got it stuck. No way. Okay, we're fine. How did I miss one? Is it actually here? I hate that the volume's bugged. It's so loud. Half-Life 2 back rooms. It is back here.
Zombie surprise. There's a little bit of a cheeky jump scare in this sewer pipe. Players wander in here, all focused and curious, and then an underwater zombie pops up, almost always scaring the pants off of playtesters. One fell completely out of their chair, and we marked that moment as a success.
Okay. That was not worth it. I guess it's fun to revisit, but that was the dumbest commentary node. The silliest. Actual filler, dude. Actual filler. Should have played in VR. Going the wrong path. It's so cool that loading screens keep where you're at. This is a building I was talking about. If there's no commentary in the building, I'm gonna skip a map. Because I'm pretty sure that if there's none here, there's gonna be none on the whole map. No, there's... okay.
Grenade intro. We conceived of this Combine base as both a training area and a playground for grenades, introducing them here in infinite supply crates to signal that it's safe for players to use grenades freely without fear of running out. Go wild. The Combine encounter here uses extensive markup to direct the soldier AI towards cover and provide good opportunities for players to make use of grenades. At the end of the area, the same infinite grenade technique helps players resolve the turret placement, as a direct assault is a lot more difficult if you don't. A bright red light and a particle trail were added to the grenades, making it significantly easier for players to follow their trajectory, whether they're throwing them or dodging one from a Combine soldier.
I got one. I think that the volume is because, oh my god, of the commentary nodes. I think it's a bug.
Air resistance. One important feature we had to add to our physics engine for Half-Life 2 was air resistance. At the time, physics engines would typically implement a general damping feature for slowing objects down as they moved, but this merely removes energy in a symmetric way. In order to create a more believable motion, we decided to simulate air resistance instead. This allowed us to get asymmetric behavior, where the amount the object was slowed by moving through the air was different depending on how much surface area of the object was facing the direction of movement or rotation. This feature was key.
That's
to
so
making
complicated.
explosions and objects thrown by the gravity gun look believable. Fast-moving and fast-spinning objects are among the most expensive things to simulate in Half-Life 2's physics engine, so air resistance also improves CPU performance in cases like explosions. It is also key to presenting different materials and masses of objects. More dense objects can push aside air more easily, and this is visible. Having this effect in the simulation helps make the difference in density between cardboard boxes and wooden planks more apparent, and really helps make the objects in Half-Life 2's world much more convincing.
Puzzle layers. Because players are often totally unaware of the designer's intent, which we think is a good thing, they tend to respond in all kinds of surprising ways to our puzzles. Even seemingly simple puzzles can see countless failures along the way to success. That was the case with this puzzle to open the canal gates, which required many layers of hints and cues. The Sparky wheel communicates that this is where someone would normally open the gate, but some other method is needed. A few crows draw the player's eye towards the solution, in this case, a bundle of girders on a pendulum. As grenades have been thoroughly introduced, we originally wanted players to throw one to break the wooden support structure, but that wasn't obvious enough. We added exploding barrels as a much clearer
So cool.
But even after solving the puzzle, some players didn't realize that the gates were now open, which led them to endlessly explore the base interior looking for another exit. So we had to
That's
remind
so
them
funny.
of their original problem, the broken gate. We added smoke, the alarm klaxon, and a spinning light, and it was then that we finally started seeing reliably good results in playtesting.
No, you can't come in. You can't come in. I refuse. Ah! Stop. That one was 4 out of 4, right? This one was 3? Wait, what? Was that one 3? Let me go double check again. Because I don't know if I need to skip forward a lot or if we gotta explore the other section. This is 3, okay. There is one more. Uno más. Uno más. Can I just lower the gun volume down? Please. Ow. Is there a healing in here? I swear to God there was. Was it in there? Yeah. I keep getting stuck on that shit. Whoa. I hope I didn't miss one. I swear to God. I looked. There's no way there's another one in there. The last one must be... I guess it's here. It's kind of a weird spot.
Metrocop strafing. The initial design of the airboat levels
Look at that
aimed
shit.
to challenge players with tight maneuvers under pressure from Metrocops. The Metrocop strafing fire pattern was meant to make players slalom around the shots as they sped through, but in a review process, internally known as Overwatch, some playtesters felt frustrated being shot at without a way to retaliate. They wanted the airboat to feel powerful and unstoppable. Based on that feedback, we refocused the levels to emphasize empowerment over challenge, shifting from dodging attacks to fast-paced combat, speed, and busting through barriers.
Which really is just more fun. Stop. Stop. God, my ears. I'm not gonna shoot anymore. No more. I'm not shooting at all. Don't touch me. Ow. Spice. Spice. Ow. I never noticed that the reticle doesn't move with the zoom on the boat. Alright, here we are. New session. Fresh session. I do need a health. I thought that's just how you get it. Oh. Thanks. Thanks. Oh, thank you. Let me take that. Let me take it. I don't know where this one would be. Oh, they're here. There's two. This one first? Maybe. Yeah. How do you... No, it has to be the other one. For some reason, I thought that had an entrance, but it's only this side.
3D Skybox. We've always needed to render a world that feels larger than our map limitations allow. In Half-Life 1, we used a cube map texture to let players see beyond the playable area. But in Half-Life 2, we wanted that view into the larger world to be dynamic, not just a static texture. Our map size limitation was about half a mile in each dimension, but we realized we could create a much larger outer world if we stored it at a reduced scale. So, we invented what we called the 3D Skybox. The 3D Skybox is a small box hidden within the actual game map containing geometry at 1/16th scale. Inside it, a reference point corresponds to a matching origin in the main map. Then, when we render the space beyond the playable area, we use the geometry from the 3D Skybox, positioned by that reference point and scaled up 16 times. Getting the lighting and fog to blend seamlessly across the transition from the main map to the Skybox presented some sticky challenges, but it worked. The result made the world feel significantly larger and more immersive than it had in Half-Life 1.
Technica. Tech. Get me out. Wait, how many were there? 4. Damn.
357 intro. The Magnum, unlike the basic handgun with its slower rate of fire, is meant to be fired in a more measured, targeted way, dealing catastrophic damage to your target. Earlier versions of the Magnum had a bit of random dispersion, which we felt fit the heft and the less sensitive trigger pull of a larger pistol. However, this led to anticlimactic moments where players would carefully line up a shot only to miss due to the accuracy penalty. To address this, we made the first bullet perfectly accurate, with each subsequent shot becoming less accurate as you blasted away.
I didn't even know it was less. I always thought it was dead on every time.
During development, we became increasingly frustrated with our slow gameplay iteration speeds, mainly because map compilation, needed to pre-compute lighting and visibility, was taking hours. Computers in 2000 were far slower than today's, and they had only a single CPU core each. Inspired by SETI at Home, a distributed program that used PCs worldwide to analyze radio waves for signs of extraterrestrial life, we built VMPI, which was our own distributed system that spread the map compilation process across many office computers. Today, these kinds of distributed systems run on giant GPU clusters, but at the time we just ran it on all the computers in our office. To deal with how our lighting code was evolving as quickly as our maps were, VMPI also distributed new exe files to everyone's computer too. In retrospect, this was a pretty terrifying security concept, just awfully bad. It's like the stuff of nightmares for IT folks. Because we were sending an arbitrary executable to all of our work PCs, and they would just run it. It was absolute madness. But it worked for us, and it did significantly increase our map iteration speed, and as a result, it ended up being a crucial tool.
I can't see because of the window. I'm like, where's his head? It's the same color as the freaking window. Oh my lord. He's not dead? I actually thought he died. Please die. Oh my lord, now I have to do something silly. Oh my lord, there's a window there. Of course. I was being cheeky. For some reason I think I'm missing a commentary node. God! Get out! Why are you peeking the goddamn stairs? Putting healing where the helicopter can see you. God, I'm stuck on something. Get me off. Helicopter OP. Jesus, my ears. I'm gonna freaking mute the game every time I shoot my gun.
Mounted guns. The mounted guns were added here to help train the player on the gun's effectiveness against the attack helicopter for the final battle in the reservoir. This was necessary because up to this point, the helicopter was invulnerable to the player's weapons, and we had to give some indication that it could be harmed with larger weaponry. This was only somewhat effective in playtest due to the amount of pressure the player was under at the moment, which led us to developing the particle effects and sounds that would sell to the players.
I thought it explodes over here for some reason. That's like a Mandela effect. I could have sworn it freaking explodes over here. I need my boat. Wait, there was one more. Did I get that one? Yeah, I did. Okay. I thought I missed it for some reason. Was that the last node? I think it was. For this point. Look at that. It's so buggy. What is it at now? Never mind, it's because it's registering my click with mouse 4. So it's just moving it. Oh my god, the accuracy on that fucking helicopter right now. Was there a node there? I wasn't even looking. I'm backing up. I wasn't even paying attention. I forgot what I was doing. And that like hidden off section, there's nothing. I'm gonna assume that I didn't miss one. Yeah, no way. For some reason I was gonna say that they were in here. Or I was thinking that they were in those little cubbies. He's too forgiving. That's what I'm doing for when I shoot.
Helicopter bombing run. This is another example of us creating movement hazards while driving the airboat. The helicopter attempts to stay in front of the player when dropping bombs, and if the player backtracks, it switches to hovering and turns to attacking them. In one playtest, a bomb just so happened to drop between the pipe seams, creating a pretty cinematic moment.
There's only one on this whole map.
So the team decided to script it so it happened every time. This process has become part of our organic design process. Every so often, a cool thing randomly happens in a playtest, and we find a way to make it happen more reliably.
That sucks. I don't remember what map we're on. I'll just freaking play through. Because of the way it's going, we're definitely not going to get through all of the commentary. Just that sucks. I don't want to try. Oh, brother. Don't touch me. We have to do the whole airboat section. Screw the caches. And I don't need to peek very much because I know there's only one. Oh my lord. Really? Really? Oh my god, dude. Full tilt mode now. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. What's next? I don't even remember that. That industrial section right there. It's so small. But like, it's kind of cool. Check back here now that we're in a new map. Nah. There better not be a secret node. How do I have one suit? One suit. Oh, I want to go up there. Is there really not gonna be any commentary nodes on this section? I should have been tracking the maps. Maybe there's one here. No. So, dude, that freaking helicopter's cheating. Let me suit up. Let me freaking suit up. Yo, let me suit up. All right, yeah, I don't see any. Stop. Stop. Why wouldn't someone just go that way, though? Oh, that's if you fall. That's what I thought. I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, I couldn't actually turn in time. So this better be the first one, or I'm gonna start tussling. That part is nuts.
Smokestack collapse. When making a cinematic
There's only
action
one on this
game
one?
like the first Half-Life, we'd always wanted to make some big, spectacular destruction sequence, but we were never quite able to do anything like that. Half-Life 2's physics introduced a system for breaking physics small objects, such as crates, into pieces, which provoked the idea of doing something.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I guess I can continue forward through the map while we listen, right? I just thought about that, like on the boat.
Much bigger.
Oh no, not in this
We
part.
took a leap and tried breaking a smokestack into pieces as it fell. So we experimented with the masses until it felt better, refined the model, and added lots of smoke and audio to sell the effect. And there we had it. We had our big spectacular destruction moment. Ultimately, our physics made the sequence just barely possible in a way that maybe seems quaint by modern standards, but felt really awesome at the time. Because the simulation was unique every time we ran it, we had to take steps to avoid completely blocking the player's path with the big chunks of debris. The success of this sequence whet our appetites for the much higher fidelity cinematic physics destruction effects next seen in episode 2.
You're high fidelity. Just gonna play through it so I can eat Oreo. There's a puzzle section with the airboat coming up. I hate it. There's a lot here. Oh my god.
After Half-Life 1 shipped, our level designers and artists wanted a better solution for outdoor environments, so we built the first version of our terrain system. It was based on subdivided quads. To visualize this, imagine a flat square divided into a grid, where each point on the grid can be moved up or down. Level designers could lay out multiple squares and then use a paintbrush tool to shape hills and valleys by adjusting the grid points. For rendering, we used a special blended texture, which combined two different textures.
Rats make me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room with rats. That's what you say to her.
Each grid point specified how much of each texture to use, allowing smooth transitions between surfaces like sand, grass, dirt, and gravel. This type of terrain system wasn't unusual in game engines at the time, and we naively thought it would be enough for our game designers.
You're enough for me.
Washing machine puzzle. We created the washing machine physics puzzle late in
Washing machine puzzle.
After playtesting indicated that players needed some downtime from the relentless pressure from the helicopter. Pacing contrasts like this can accentuate the high moments by resetting the player's emotional state and warding off exhaustion or even boredom. It was a
Tell your
positive
mom you
sign that
love her.
players reacted so strongly to all the work done.
That's what you
to
should
make the
do.
helicopter truly menacing. But if we didn't manage the stress of it, fatigue set in, which quickly started to feel like monotony rather than excitement. Originally, players quickly drove through this area, but because of the nice sunlight and composition of the canal here, we decided it was a good spot to pause the action and have the players spend some quiet time solving a puzzle. The puzzle itself, which was the first to use masses in
Quiet time.
ended up giving rise to other physics navigation puzzles elsewhere in the game.
Displacements 2. Once the initial terrain system was up and running, we expected level designers to use it for outdoor spaces. Instead, they began experimenting, adding detail in unexpected places. They used the subdivided quads on the top of walls to create ruined edges, rounded off street curbs, and even attempted to make pipes. This met with varying success since the terrain system was designed for landscapes, not architectural detail. So we returned to the code mines, transforming the height-based terrain system into a fully 3D displacement system. Now, instead of only moving grid points up and down, designers could move them in any direction. This allowed them to add extra detail to all kinds of surfaces using blended textures to smooth transitions between the displacement quads and the BSP geometry. However, this required additional tech work to ensure consistent lighting between the two renderers, or those edges would have been noticeably mismatched. But with all this done, the level designers seemed satisfied, and we naively thought that this time it really would be enough. Displacements 3. With the general displacement system in hand, level designers didn't stop at adding detail to the world and returned to their original goals of building large-scale outdoor sections.
This led to another round of updates to balance performance, ensuring the system could handle both fine detail and larger ground terrain. Texturing had to improve as well, especially to support complex structures like overhanging cliffs that weren't possible with the original height-based system. Designers, never one to rest on their laurels, also started using displacements to create caves and tunnels. While these additions look great, they required even more technical adjustment. Eventually, we managed to wrangle the competing requirements of all the ways that displacements were being used, and they shipped in large sections of our game world. Looking back, displacements are a clear example of how technology and game design evolve together. It's a chicken and egg problem. We can't foresee all the ways a piece of tech will impact the game, but we also can't build the tech without knowing what it needs to accomplish. So, as is always the case, we have to build something. We start with a solid guess and see where it leads us.
Damn. I didn't expect it to be that technical all of a sudden. This was not the puzzle that I don't like. Oh my god. Oh, the barrel. The goddamn barrel stopped my momentum. I love that. I should have thought ahead though. I'm being too silly. That's because I need my little Oreo eating session. God. What? I hate the airboat, dude. I hate it. I hate airboats. Get me airboating out of here. I think this part's almost done anyways. There was one more dev commentary left for this section, I'm pretty sure.
Gordon Freeman himself.
Look at her go. You're doing it backwards.
We gotta move out before the combine picks us up. We're just getting ready to pull out.
Hurry. We gotta tear down this camp and get out of here.
Yeah, I knew there was one more. Was there another health thingy? I swear to God there was. I'm hallucinating. Get me out.
Gestures. Each of our characters had a library of simple animations called
I'm in.
gestures, which we could easily layer on top of other body movements. While originally planned as a production savings to allow us to reuse animations throughout the game, we found they actually had more utility than that. Humans often repeat certain movements, and these can be markers of a specific personality. As a result, our gestures library ended up capturing the essence of each character, helping to unify our animation team's understanding of who those characters were. This made it much easier for our animators to share any one character's workload among themselves.
So there's two more.
Required.
There's one more after this. Oh, it's right there.
That gun came off one of the same 100 choppers that you're up against. I always like to bring a little irony to a firefight.
No! Why is it sliding me?
Get that chopper down, and you should be able to tear on through
OP. It's so OP. Let me out. Can I select it in this? I can't.
Airboat change-up. We heard from the playtesters that they wanted more varied gameplay from the airboat. Up until this point of the game, the player had no real way to fight back against the helicopter and other enemies, so it felt right to introduce a new weapon, and in turn, deliver a pacing change and set the stage for what would come next. In the subsequent areas, we added target practice to acquaint people with their new weapon. Extra physics work on the airgun projectiles meant targets would be sent flying and make it feel way more powerful than anything in the player's loadout. Even then, when it came to playtesting combat against the helicopter, a lot of testers still thought it was invincible, and hadn't noticed our efforts to illustrate it was taking damage from the Combine-mounted guns earlier. To get over this,
I was waiting for it.
We put the helicopter directly outside the tunnel in which you get the gun and make it extremely clear that you can and should shoot it. And it worked.
That you can and should shoot it. It's spicy! Get up there! I shouldn't have did this. I should have just stayed in the boat for a second. Oh, what am I doing? For some reason, I was like thinking there was a wheel there. I'm so mixed up. I mean, it's been... I played this when the Half-Life 2 VR came out, but I didn't finish. But I did get all the way... I'm pretty sure I got all the way to dog. Oh, I was not paying attention. Whatever. Whatever. Don't freaking touch me. I'm out of bullet. I'm out of bullet. I can't let him live. I can't do it. That is so fun. Like, just adding that little physics force, like they were saying, makes the gun so much more fun. What a simple little thing. Who thinks of that, too, by the way? Some smart man. Some very smart man.
Skybox time of day. The skybox and fog color changes incrementally during this chapter. This is meant to visually represent the passage of time as the player journeys through the canals and the chapter. Two fog color values in opposite directions help sell the illusion of the oblique angle of the sun. You can see it getting close to the sunset by this point. This culminates in the helicopter combat arena with the sun setting and Ravenholm visible in the skybox.
You can see Ravenholm in the skybox? I don't remember that. Hey, buddy. I got one of those too.
A Half-Life game isn't ultimately...
This person's mic too.
But we're always looking for ways to break up the player path and create nonlinearity at level scale. This lambda cache, replaced with a zombie and headcrab ambush, was entirely optional and built only to add
Look at the scary
some of the
bike too.
nonlinearity to this section of travel through the canals.
Spooky bike. I love that I have to manually control the volume throughout this process, by the way. Oh, scheisse, I did something wrong. That part reminded me of Lorne's Lure. God damn it. What? I was holding a bone? I was like, why can't I shoot? I was holding a little bone giblet from the goddamn barnacle. That was so silly. Oh, there's another one here. Hold on. Hold on, guys. They call it Donkey Kong Barrel Ramp.
Originally started as just an interesting piece of level architecture. But during playtesting, we quickly saw how fun it was to slide the airboat up and around the slope. So we added more elements to enhance that experience. This included Metro Cops dropping barrels down toward the player, and a little nod to the classic arcade game, Donkey Kong.
Did you ever consider the airboat is not fun? I guess it's okay. I just like going around in the regular FPS mode, okay? Oh man, this part. I have 9 hup. I'm freaking dead. Right here, I'm dead right here. How is that one not dead? I have 6 hup. Okay, we're good. God damn. How many bullets have I shot at those? Jesus, I lost so much just by coming back out. I didn't see how many there were on this part. You're lucky I kind of remember everything about this game. Kinda. Everything. Just bring me to Ravenholm. Bring me there. Getting the actual car is way more fun. I don't... How did I forget how many commentary nodes there were on this map? It's fine. I think I did get them all. I think there was 3. This is too loud. This is excessive. I don't want a health stack right now, but so there's one here.
Helicopter Megabomb origin. The Megabomb helicopter attack was based on a bug where a programmer accidentally removed the bomb drop cooldown.
A bug?
In the chopper dropping hundreds of bombs all at once. It looked so cool that we decided that we had to keep it for the final shipping bombing run attack.
He's leaving? Where are you going, buddy? I mean, it does look so cool. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, was that someone falling out of the helicopter? I don't remember that. I love how it freaks out. Oh man, that's scary. Oh man, that's scary. Oh, I'm in a boat. The spread on this is crazy. Please die. I don't think the bullets go that far anyways. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. That's so annoying. I guess I do need to heal up. Damn. I hate this part, dude. I really do. This part is not for me. It's just giving me shield. Gonna listen to it again.
The Megabomb helicopter attack was based on a bug where a programmer accidentally removed the bomb drop cooldown, resulting in the chopper dropping hundreds of bombs all at once. It looked so cool that we decided that we had to keep it for the final shipping bombing run attack.
He's mine. Okay, I'm not gonna blow myself up here. But I can hit him from the side. We need to get super close when he's on this side. Oh, fuck. He did a double back? He didn't do that the first time. I'm out of bullet. Stop. I don't like those. I don't need those. I don't need them. You can keep those. Assert my dominance on the helicopter. So there's 3 in this section. I don't see any more. There's one there. Yeah, it's got to be further ahead.
Arena exit gate. The wheel mechanism to raise the exit gate was added specifically to force the player to defeat the helicopter before they can move forward. We often refer to elements like this as gating the player, using design elements.
A gate? It's called gating?
Completed a necessary task. Here, it's quite literally a gate.
Really? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Well, I know that was only 2. All right. There's got to be one up here. Yep. Freak it.
Helicopter final battle. We designed this area as the arena for the final showdown between the player and the Combine attack helicopter. It's the player's chance to finally eliminate the relentless enemy that's been hunting them since Flame.
Except there is a time where you kill it, a smaller one or whatever, before.
Right. It needed ample space.
They should have discerned them a little better.
A smooth movement flow with clear path options and reliable performance. We also aimed for visual clarity suited to combat, striking but not overly noisy, while ensuring it would serve as a memorable vista once the helicopter is destroyed.
Give me it all. How did I heal up so much? Oh my grenade. There's no more revolve. There's no revolver. Hammer. Dude, that freaking supplements thing. Oh man, Gmod roleplay for sure, you know. Gmod roleplay for sure. That is so loud. I guess it would be that loud in real life. Whoa. I should have left the airboat near that. Oh, must sprint. Must sprint. Must sprint. Ow. I forgot you had to do this. Damn. Black Mesa East. There's one there.
Airboat wreckage. Originally, we destroyed the airboat in the jump over the dam. So this level opened with the player amidst the wreckage of their beloved airboat. In a team-wide playtest, people felt disappointed to lose the vehicle they had spent so
They were
much time
sad.
on. There was a lot of internal debate about whether that feeling of loss was a valuable experience or not.
There's 7 on this
Ultimately,
one.
we decided to leave the airboat intact to allow for the possibility of the player reuniting with it someday. Some say that airboat is still out there, waiting for you.
It quite literally is. It's just, it's right there. Like, it's not going anywhere.
Alex and Mossman. In our early plans for Half-Life 2's narrative, we wanted to take on the challenge of doing something less explicit.
Such a fun animation.
Not just a story about the obviously good player defeating the obviously evil enemy. Instead, we aimed to focus on characters and their relationships. We thought it would be interesting to explore family as a central dynamic unit of Half-Life 2. The tension between Alex and Mossman emerged from that idea, and we liked it because it felt relatable, something players could understand and empathize with.
I do so envy you working with Eli and Dr. Kleiner when they were at the top of their field. Ah, there we go. You can come through now.
I'm ready.
Eli right away. You would never forgive me if I kept you waiting.
Traitor. Traitor.
We could certainly use the extra help around here. We've covered a lot of ground in the last few months, but things would go so much faster if we had more people with your training.
My training.
Closing in on a reliable local teleport technology. Something the Combine still hasn't mastered. Eli thinks their portals are string-based, similar to our Calabi-Yau model, but they failed to factor in the dark energy equations. They can tunnel through from their universe, but once they're here, they're dependent on local transportation. If they knew what we were doing with entanglement...
Too silly.
Oh. Listen to me, I sound like a postdoc. I'm just so excited to
Get on with it. Get on with it.
Oh, yes. Dr. Kleiner compressed the Zen reader far beyond anything he imagined of Black Mesa. We figured out how to use Zen as an unexpressed axis. Effectively a dimensional slingshot, so we can swing around the border world and come back in local space without having to pass through.
They're harvesting the Vortigaunt energy too.
Oh, here's Eli now.
All right, good. You keep right on.
There's 3 in here.
Eli, look who I found in the airlock.
Gordon,
The rest are probably with Dog, right? Or the last one.
look at you, man. My God, you haven't changed one iota. How do you do it? Now, let's see. The last time I saw you, I sent you up for help after the resonance cascade. I never thought it would take you this long to get back to me. Welcome to the lab anyway. It's not Black Mesa, but it served us well enough.
It's going to be a lot more like Black Mesa with Gordon here to help.
Right you are. MIT graduates are few and far between these days. We'll get you out of that hazard suit and back into your lab.
It's crazy how much she looks like
Let me just
Alex.
finish up some work and I'll see what I can dig up.
You know.
Dr. Freeman, it's been a real honor. I'm looking forward to working together.
Whoa.
Eli's lab. We built Eli's lab after Dr. Kleiner's, which gave us a better understanding of how to set up and design effective choreo scenes. As a result, we were able to create a more complex scenario with more opportunities for it to respond to the player.
Big book,
Having multiple
big
characters
text.
doing their own thing around the room made staging tricky, and it took a lot of iteration and playtesting to get it to run smoothly. Our experience showed that, generally, players wanted to play along with the scene. They just needed enough subtle clues to know where we wanted them. Similarly, if they got distracted, the scene had to gently pause and wait for them to return.
My immersion.
Hugs and pickups.
Sometimes even little things can be a nightmare to get working. For example, getting a character to hug another character, or even more simply, just to pick up an object from a table can cause a lot of issues. Even worse, in our dynamic environment, where the characters and objects aren't in preset positions, and the players running around getting in the way, these require a level of synchronization that can be quite tricky. They're made harder because humans handle them without thinking. As you're moving to the table to pick up a cup, you're doing all kinds of preparation with your body to get your feet and hands in the right position to allow to do it comfortably. Everything ready right when you get there. If you're moving in to hug somebody, you're both doing it at the same time, adjusting constantly based on each other's movement. To get these features to work in the game involved a lot of synchronization work, making characters aware of each other and the world, and at the same time, getting them to know more about their future plans. It's tempting to want to pick up a cup example into discrete steps. Walk to the table, face cup, pick up a cup, because it's much simpler that way, and it makes the steps nicely reusable. But that's how robots work, not humans. Our characters had to know they were moving to a table with the intention to pick up a cup, so they could work on multiple parts of it simultaneously, making sure their hand grabs the cup right when they get there. With two characters, it's even more of a negotiation. Both need to agree where and when it's going to happen, and everything needs to happen in place in a seamless fashion. While these moments of simple interaction with their characters in the world are often short, they were critical to making them seem like believable people.
The capacity of the Combine Thyristor.
Feel free to look around.
I have.
Balancing the player's desire to explore with the narrative goals of the scene was always a challenge. We wanted the room to be full of interesting things to look at, but many players wouldn't explore until they were sure they wouldn't miss any of the character performances. That's why it was important for Eli to tell the player to look around midway through the scene. It signaled that it was safe to explore. From there, we could trigger a variety of custom mini-scenes based on what caught the player's interest.
Let's get out of here.
I got one more.
We want to put this dense chunk of visual story here because it's the place the game is most explicit at telling players to explore space. Even though its primary job is world building, we still take strides to highlight the relationship between Eli and Breen, giving context to the world's central conflict.
Huh. This is... You can't even see the camera that's right here, by the way. There is no camera there.
So I see you've met Dr. Mossman.
Mossman. Judith Mossman was originally based on a character we had planned for a section of Half-Life 1. That section was cut from the base game and reused in Uplink, but without the character. We consider her the most complex character in Half-Life 2. We knew we'd be walking a tightrope with how the player felt about her even before Nova Prospekt, because the player's trusted sources don't agree. Eli likes her, but Alex doesn't. We recognized there was a limit to how much complexity we could pull off in relationships, but we felt that a stepmother-daughter dynamic was something players would understand. Whether or not you agree with Mossman, she's doing something heroic. She risks being a double agent to get the information she needs to protect Eli and Alex. She just didn't plan for it.
Damn, there was 7 there. Also, those ones are, the most interesting.
Character lighting. In the first year of development,
There's 5 in
we
this
started to get our
section.
characters to feel as realistic as we wanted them
It's like the
to.
pre-Ravenholm
There were
stuff.
actually quite a number of different problems, all of which eventually required specific technological and artistic improvements to fix. The first major problem was lighting. At the time, lighting technology in games had many shortcuts, some due to performance, but many due to misunderstandings of how it all works. To make characters look good at the time, models and textures had to be created with much of their lighting solution baked into them, like shadows and glossiness. The characters looked cool, but they also looked like video game characters. We started building Alex with this approach, because that was how you were supposed to do it. We used the baked solutions and lit her like a movie actor, essentially as if she had a custom lighting rig that followed her around and ensured she always looked good. But it didn't really work. The range of lighting environments and the dynamic nature of video games meant that she looked great in some environments, but always end up looking terribly unrealistic at some point. We tried iterating on our lighting rig, increasing its capabilities, but eventually it felt like we were at a dead end. Returning to the drawing board, we decided to try a different approach. We built her and
This
the
is gonna
lighting
swing.
textures from the ground up, throwing everything away, focusing on not what we wanted her to look like in our ideal lighting, but on how things were supposed to work in the real world. It might seem obvious, but it wasn't how it was done, at least not in video games. When looked at outside the game's renderer, these models and textures actually looked worse than the previous versions. But we
Secret, by the
managed
way.
to methodically pull out all the shortcuts and misconceptions about how light and texture and graphics cards worked and put it all back together. After all that was done, when we were finally able to look at Alex in-game with her new models and textures and a dynamic environment that kept her visually consistent at all times, well, she looked great. Totally seamless and part of the Half-Life 2 world. Facial technology. We wanted players to care about our characters, and to even have a chance at achieving that. We knew we had to invest a lot of technology for our characters' faces. It's well understood that humans are wired to pay attention to faces, subconsciously reading all kinds of information from them, so it's an extremely high bar, and if we couldn't reach it, we'd probably push players away from our characters, not towards them as we hoped. We started out doing a lot of research. It was not heartening. The best examples we could find weren't anywhere near close to being able to be run in real time, while the best real-time ones weren't close to the quality we wanted. We wanted to look as good as an animated movie, but they often took hours to render frames and were totally linear, authored by up to 100 animators, whereas ours had to be dynamic. A character might be trying to speak dialogue or have a facial move derived from a player's actions and created by just a handful of artists. These requirements eventually led us to Dr. Paul Ekman's facial acting coding system, a system for taxonomizing human facial movements done back in the 1970s. It gave us a vocabulary for describing facial movements throughout our tools and code, and a target to aim for when designing our characters' faces. With it as a framework, we started a many-year process of iterating on how we built faces and heads of our characters. Where others had tried taking bits of Ekman's work, we wanted to try to use it all. That meant a lot of time spent figuring out how to do each piece within the tight performance constraints we had. But we also spent a lot of time just looking at people and faces, trying to find the extra features that would add the most value, like skin elasticity, teeth shadowing. In the end, while we weren't able to do everything we wanted, we did manage to get the pieces we thought were the most important to a convincing facial performance level on our characters. Eye shader. Another critical part of getting
Where did she
character
go?
faces to be convincing was in the eyes.
Where dog
Humans
is?
are great at reading eyes. There's a part of your brain dedicated to it, down to knowing where someone is looking based on the reflections on the eyeballs. But there are all kinds of subtleties that matter. Eyes aren't actually spheres. Eyelids get distorted by the cornea moving around underneath. Eye movement can increase the odds of blinking. Eyes don't actually line up directly behind the pupil. They're shifted slightly. All these little details might feel small or unnoticeable, but the absence hurts the believability of the character. We worked on eyes for a long time, iterating our eyeball model and feature set little by little. Some things required external interfaces, like what things in the environment were interesting to look at, where others were automatic, at a subconscious level in the AI, like blinking, an obvious requirement, but one that's subtly confusing if it's wrong. Eye reflections had a particularly large impact. They're ultimately a tiny amount of real estate on the screen, but the difference they made was enormous. We knew we were finally done when we reached the point where, with our eye shader off, a character looked like a doll, human-like, but unconvincing in some way that was hard to describe. But when we turned it
This
on,
is a lot of the same shit that's in the documentary.
Moving the gravity gun. When the gravity gun
This guy's
was
Mike.
first prototyped, we planned to give it to the player midway through the game. But as playtesting progressed, we saw the strength of its design and realized the gravity gun and, more importantly, the ability to launch saw blades at zombie faces needed to come earlier. That meant Eli's lab also needed to move earlier too. It was a significant change, but it was crucial to Half-Life 2's success.
This is the last one.
It serves as a good reminder that storytelling and gameplay are intertwined, and neither can always take priority. They have to work together.
first model was about yay high. I've been adding to him ever since. Haven't I, boy? Okay, dog, let's play catch with Gordon. You'll need to use the gravity gun.
I can't do it. It's a weird tone.
Risk. Looking back on Half-Life 2 now, 20 years later, it's sobering to reflect on how terrifying it was throughout much of the development. Game development is hard. You never really get what you'd like to have, which is be able to validate risk before you start to pile more on top of it. For example, our facial animation technology, it took probably 3 or 4 years of work before we were confident it was actually going to work. But we couldn't wait until then. In that first year, we immediately started making all kinds of other choices in our game design, our asset production, and our other technologies, all based on the assumption that our facial animation technology was going to work in the end, from a quality and performance standpoint. If it hadn't, many of those other choices wouldn't have worked either. At the same risk profile is true of other large choices we made early on. We can't wait. We just have to build and hope that our guesses will be true years from now. Terrifying.
So there's 5 nodes here and they don't use a single one to talk about dog. Like there's no insight about dog in this section. That seems a little weird to me, but I guess it doesn't matter if they're gonna talk about dog important stuff later on. Thanks, buddy. Now you want to play catch? By the way, Pacific Drive totally stole the roller mines.
I didn't tell you who'd be fetching, did I?
Her eyes. Too high.
Okay, Gordon, let's try something else.
God. What? What? Do not throw something bigger. I'm busy. Yay. Oh, he goes in his little hut. No, don't go in your little hut, buddy. Why did he go in his little house? I never noticed that before.
Alex, do you read?
Now we have the Ravenholm stuff.
What's going on in there?
Ugh.
We're in the scrapyard airlock, stuck in a full auto cycle.
Is Gordon still with you?
He's right here.
Good. I want you to...
Dad?
Take Gordon out of here. Head for the coast. Do not go to the race.
Dad? Dad!
Do not go to rave.
Dog, open the airlock. Get us out of here.
Do not go to rave.
Just get it open. That's enough, dog.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Uh-oh. I got rumbled.
Gordon, you need to get out of here. I can't leave my father. Dog, take Gordon to the Ravenholm tunnel, then circle around and try to meet up with me. Hurry!
Oh, no, look at that. All right. Get me out of here. It's time for some spookies. At least the volume for the gravity gun is working. Ow. Ow. Oh. What? Why? Oh my. I was like, I don't remember that at all. I'm being so dumb. I'm also getting tired. Developer commentary for hours making me sleepy. Wood textures. They kind of remind me of noob maps more than anything. There it is. The first scene.
As we finished up our work on Ravenholm, we couldn't shake the feeling that the transition from Eli's lab just wasn't working.
What?
Far too abrupt. Eli's lab connected directly to the streets of the town where you'll be shortly, and the section you're standing in didn't exist. We had just made this promise at the end
Interloper?
of Eli's lab, we don't go there anymore. And we liked the overall build-up we'd created. But when the player got to Ravenholm, they were immediately dropped into combat with zombies.
Isn't the interloper right here?
Building. So we built this section and the subsequent tight corridors to address that in a way.
There's 16
We slowed the pacing
on this part.
and lighting, got you ready to experience why we don't go to Ravenholm anymore.
Ravenholm gameplay focus. After watching many playtests of Ravenholm, we knew the core gameplay of the level revolved around the gravity gun and physics. Once equipped with that knowledge, we felt we could appropriately build the transition into Ravenholm and help the player learn and understand a bit about what the upcoming experience would be. This happens often. We build the level track, figure out what's working, and then design its prologue. We built the following set of rooms with that table setting in mind. The brutality of the tools we provide the player seemed to aid in setting the mood we were striving for, helping to shift the tone from the safety of Eli's lab to something darker and more frightening.
Bringing physics to the enemies. The physics traps in Ravenholm were some of the first gameplay elements in the level that we were really happy with, but they lacked player agency. It was the saw blades that helped us figure out what Ravenholm was truly about. With saw blades, the player was able to bring physics to the zombies instead of leading zombies into the physics. Once we had that understanding, Ravenholm evolved rapidly. We kept combing through the map, looking for anything, especially anything unusual, that could be turned into a tool or weapon for the player.
Player tools. By this point in the game, players had a lot of experience with Half-Life 2's physics, but they've just received the gravity gun, which provides a whole new way to interact with the physics objects in the game. We iterated on a variety of the physics objects that the player could play with, things like saw blades, the catapults, explosive canisters, traps, spears, and so on, and honed in on the ones that worked well with the physics gun and cut the ones that didn't. Then we went about stripping the levels of ammunition items so the player had to rely on these objects to survive.
Whoa! I didn't miss one, did I? Just talking about physics? They just talking about physic objects?
Contrived setups. There's a pretty obvious contrivance in a bunch of the gravity gun and physics object training. The player pulls a saw blade out of the wall with the gravity gun, and right on cue, a zombie stumbles around the corner, just begging to have a saw blade launched at it. Then the player crawls under a spinning blade trap to turn it off, and suddenly 3 zombies appear, taunting the player to switch the
I'm not turning it off.
We didn't have much time to iterate on this section, so we needed setups that worked for all players, not more open-ended ones that relied on them making the right move. While this kind of design has the potential to reduce players' creativity, in this case, we found that they didn't seem to mind that we forced their hand a little bit.
Paint cans. Once we started to succeed at making the gravity gun and physics gameplay the core of the Ravenholm experience, we started to go through the levels and look for objects that we might have overlooked as we were busy working with the really aggressive things like saw blades and exploding canisters. One of the things we found was the paint can, and it was simple enough for us to sort of reinforce player expectations by having the paint can splatter paint on the zombies when you threw one at them.
Engine. Engine though.
Ravenholm's development. We began developing Ravenholm.
I didn't even
early
know
in the
that.
Production of Half-Life 2.
That is
So it went
totally new
through
information
more
to
than
me.
one full development pass. The first version predated the gravity gun, with gameplay focused on traditional zombie combat using guns and some of the physics traps. We even planned to showcase Ravenholm at E3 in 2002, but the game was ultimately unveiled a year later in 2003. By that point, we had invested heavily in Ravenholm's art, something which we generally avoid until the gameplay is fully proven. So once we went back to Ravenholm with the gravity gun mechanic in mind, we were working with a lot of pre-existing level geometry that had been designed with a very different gameplay goal in mind.
Misteaching flinches. Another memorable playtest and example of the danger of misteaching players occurred in Ravenholm. One of our design principles is for the game to respond to the player as much as possible. So when designing the gravity gun, it seemed obvious that if the player pointed it at a zombie and pulled the trigger, something should happen. It was simple enough to make it zap the zombie for a tiny amount of damage, causing the zombie to play its flinch animation, which felt good and responsive. Later, we watched a playtest where the tester discovered this interaction immediately upon arriving in Ravenholm, and interpreted it as a feedback that the gravity gun was hurting the zombie, which it was, just not very much. So they zapped the zombie again, repeatedly, shocking it over and over until it died. This is a slow, unfun, inhumane way to fight zombies, especially where you're surrounded
I'll put him
by
out.
saw blades and explosive canisters.
Yo, this part has
Having
the
learned our
same
lesson,
energy
we
as
removed that flinch animation, even though it meant losing that interaction between the zombie and the gravity gun. In this case, it was better to not have the simple interaction, rather than give the false impression that the gravity gun was an effective way to fight zombies. Even simple principles can require trade-offs when you get into the details.
it's the same energy as when you first meet freaking Caesar's Legion in New Vegas.
Grigori Plaza.
The lottery
This
place.
open plaza is one of the areas that was fully detailed in our first development pass. And when we returned to it, we wanted to preserve as much of the existing art as possible while designing a new player path that used all 3 dimensions, moving players up and down, through windows, across rooftops, and between buildings. It wasn't a large space, so we had to squeeze as much track out of it as possible, and since that started as an art-focused area, it was light on gameplay and we needed to address that playtesters tended to fly right through it. And to top that off, it was already pushing our rendering performance budget with little room left for anything new. The challenge became finding small additions to slow the player down by adding threats around corners and into every nook and cranny of the level.
That one is too clever. Way too clever. Where's the next one? No.
Fire trap. This fire trap was originally intended as a visual showpiece for the fire system before a level designer repurposed it as a gameplay element for Ravenholm. It was almost cut many times during development due to the performance impact on the low.
He threw a medkit at me.
Overdraw involved
Healer zombie.
In the end, there was a programmer who felt that it was important enough to the gameplay that it was worth doing the work to solve the performance issues and make sure we could get it into the game.
That poor zombie, dude. Rip that guy. I forgot how. Don't you get up there through here? No, I'm being silly. I'm being very silly. This part is very scary. I was gonna zap. Oh right, you can get up there too. Damn, you can't get up there the unconventional way though. Anyways. Oh, jeez. Oh, you can actually zap there? How did I never notice that before?
Hallway cupboards. These junk-filled hallways were a simple solution to our need to slow the player down. With the constraint of preserving as much of the existing geometry as possible, combined with slow-moving zombies as the main enemy, it was tricky to stop players from just sprinting through here. Luckily, having Grigori as the crazed inhabitant of Ravenholm made these setups easy to justify. It makes good sense that he'd clog the stairwell to keep himself safe on the rooftops. In the end, Grigori's solution and ours were one and the same. Just throw a bunch of furniture in the way, because if it stops zombies, it'll probably slow the player down too.
'Cause if stop zombie. Boy. I don't think that's intended. See you later. Oh, this guy was chilling. Oh, there's two in here.
Even with all the work we did to try and make a connection between this lever and the outside electric fence in the players' minds, some testers would still flip the lever and not know what they'd done. They'd even wander around, flip the lever back on, and wander around some more. With not much time to spend on making the connection clearer, we elected to just have the lever break off. This prevented players from undoing their progress and added to the feeling that Ravenholm was an unreliable and decaying environment.
Anyways. Unintended way is more fun. Never mind, it's not fun. It's not fun anymore. I know this is intended though. I know this is intended. You only get a grenade from that? Damn. Okay.
Poison head crabs. This room unintentionally introduces poison head crabs.
Love the mics as always.
We'd spent a lot of time crafting their proper introduction later in the level, but once we saw how well they were playtesting, our excitement got the better of us, and before too long we'd scattered them throughout the level. By the time we realized they'd appeared before their intro, it was really too late to rework it. Fortunately, a tight room of poison head crabs works as decent training, because their design avoids a common issue with combat training. Typically, players are stressed and they can get frustrated if they die repeatedly without understanding why. And sure enough, we encountered that problem when trying to train the player with both poison head crabs and their source, the poison zombie. However, poison head crabs can't kill the player by themselves. So, while stressful, a room full of them at least avoids that frustration.
Wow. I didn't count what commentary we were on there. I didn't notice.
Well done, brother. Make free use of my traps, but take care not to fall in them yourself. Behind you! In Ravenholm, you do well to be vigilant.
Thanks, brother. You do well to be vigilant. This last one?
We all went to Ravenholm.
Two more after this.
When fans talk to us about Half-Life 2, Ravenholm is often the most remembered section. Thanks to its multiple development passes and the density of the material in it, more
That was
members
a
of the team
trooper.
were represented in Ravenholm than anywhere else. It was where we figured out how to apply our artistic pipeline to the set pieces and mood we wanted, how physics and gameplay combined with the gravity gun, how headcrabs and zombies need to evolve for Half-Life 2, and much more. Looking back on it now, it reassures our belief in individual empowerment over centralized design. Ravenholm is dense, highly efficient in its gameplay and artistic execution, and the sum of many small contributions by individuals who understood how they could push it just a little further.
God damn it.
Unique capabilities.
Car crushers. These car crushers required some adjustments and quite a bit of work to our physics damage system. There's always a challenge when big physics objects interact with non-player characters. For instance, if the physics can push the NPC, it might shove them
God
somewhere
damn
they're
it.
not supposed to go, leaving them unable to recover. This isn't a big issue for something like a head crab, which can just hop out of a tricky situation, but for something like a zombie, it could mean they get stuck and end up helpless, flailing away in whatever gap they manage to wedge themselves into, which kind of kills the survival horror mood we're going for here.
Ugh, survival horror.
Car crusher lifts. Getting the car crushers to lift the player was also tricky. See, the player is always being simulated by both the physics system and the game's movement system. Each time we update the player's state, we compare the results from both systems and decide which one is right, then sync them up and repeat.
Interesting.
This allows the two systems to influence each other. Like when the player stands on a seesaw, the physics lets the board give way, or when they stand on the car crusher, it lifts them up. While more complex, this dual system approach was easier to tune than trying to handle both physics and player movement in a single system. By keeping them separate, we could fine-tune the player movement system to feel good on its own, only reconciling the two when physics was affecting the player.
I'll be right back. Puke, 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 puke. Your Wi-Fi's broken. What happened? What happened, baby girl? What's going on? What's going on? Secret. Only the crazy. Do you have like an ISP that you can see if you have a down, or like a down detector? Like my service is Xfinity in Utah, which sucks ass. But I can see on the app if it's their fault or if it's mine.
I am Father Grigori. You have already met my congregation.
Have a what? Sorry, was shit too loud? A down detector? An internet service provider? ISP internet service provider. Oh. Can you see if the company that gives you your internets, can you see if it's their fault or if it's yours?
Ah, it is you, brother. I apologize. But no harm done.
Get out of my
Only for the
face!
least of your
Get out of my face! Don't touch me. What? It just it just me. Stop. Stop it. Ow. Oh, damn, that dude's shot. Damn. He's... Oh. Yeah, that... Yeah, what Pradix is saying. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot what I was doing. Going downstairs.
Pacing switch. Now that the player's through the training section, we can start shifting the pacing from moody, claustrophobic spaces to more combat-focused action arenas. With the player familiar with the various physics tools in the environment, we can start mixing those into open spaces and just give the player the freedom to choose their approach.
Oh. Only your Wi-Fi? Did you restart your router? I could help. I know a lot about that. Yeah, actually, you just get internet cable, Ethernet, I mean. Get Ethernet cable. Wi-Fi 6 is actually pretty good. Like, you don't need a Ethernet cable unless you're freaking, I don't know, it's like local hosting. It's just a cable that connects to the internet. And it looks like it has a clear plastic thing on the end. That's what makes it different. How could you be around computers so much and not know what an Ethernet cable is?
Although they call me crazy,
I
care not, for thou art my helper, my strength, and my savior.
Oh. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. He leaves. I'm reading chat. Hold on. Man, there's so many different things that could be not working from what you're saying. Like, are you connected to your Wi-Fi and it says no internet, or it says no Wi-Fi?
Tables and bodies. Towards the end of Ravenholm's production, with all the major pieces in place, we went through and tried to fill out every bit of empty space with something interesting. In doing so, we had to be careful to use what we already had and not create anything new, as we couldn't risk introducing more bugs.
Dude, that dude had like...
As in this room, we were trying to add new moments of gameplay.
God on
also
inside.
adding more detail and storytelling to the area. Small scenes like this allow an attentive player to think about what they're seeing and what it might mean for what they'll encounter next.
I have Xfinity too. It sucks. But it's the best internet I can get where I live. Connected, secured, but no Wi-Fi? Alright, we're on to something. But it's only your laptop, right? It's nothing else.
Fast Zombie Introduction.
I'm scared.
This was another area originally built for E3 2003, where it showcased the player fighting against a squad of Combine soldiers. When we returned to use it to introduce the Fast Zombie, we tried to keep as much of the previous work as possible. We wanted an iconic moonlit shot, with zombies leaping past the moon like werewolves to draw the player's eye. Once that beat is over, we
Oh my lord.
Fast zombie introduction.
I'm being silly. Hold on.
This was another area. Fast zombie introduction. This space was another area originally built for E3 2003, where it showcased the player fighting against a squad of Combine soldiers. When we returned to use it to introduce the fast zombie,
Man, I would need to see your freaking computer to actually understand. But
an iconic
you could do default things like restarting it or disconnecting, reconnecting. And then there's some advanced shit you could do with command prompt.
It took a lot of iteration to find the right balance of lighting for the scene to look good while ensuring it also works for the gameplay goals.
It broke the window?
Physics object consistency. All physics objects have a variety of parameters that define their behavior. Their mass, the amount of damage they take before breaking, what they break into.
He didn't cover it in
and so
paint.
on. During development, these parameters were specified by level designers for each item, which is how most
He
games
knocked
in
it
game
out.
worked. But later in development, we realized we'd created a problem for ourselves. There were thousands of physics objects in the game, and no method to ensure consistency across them. As a result, a cardboard box might break apart with a single pistol shot in one level, and be completely invulnerable in another. Internally, we generally referred to these inconsistencies as
You restarted
level
5
design
times.
crimes. To fix these, and to deliver some justice, we
What
built a system
setting?
that enforced
What settings
consistency
did you
on all
mess with?
physics objects based on their visual
With.
model. Since most of the game had already been built, we were forced to allow level designers to explicitly opt out of this system for rare edge cases where they needed to do something criminal to preserve what they'd designed. Internally, we refer to these designers as recidivists, some of whom perpetuate their life of crime at Valve to this day.
Because they want things to look pretty but not optimized. Okay. Ow! Whoa! Wait, take it. I need more metallic sound and meat in my crowbar beat down session. I'm trying to only adjust the volume when I shoot. Registry setting for internet? What made you go down that path?
Come closer.
I'm here.
You've stirred up hell. Man after my own heart. Here, I have a more suitable gun for you. You'll need it.
Give it to me. That was a horrible throw.
Good. Now, keep it close. My advice to you is aim for the head. Hush. They come. There is no rest in Ravenholm. Move on and I will meet you at the church.
Uh-oh. He's gonna get eaten.
Woe betide thee, child.
Wow! Get freaking blasted. Also, yeah, you should not touch that. You should definitely reverse your actions. Reverse whatever you did. And I bet you that will fix your Wi-Fi issue. Oh my, stop. Where'd y'all come from? Oh wait. Do I need to jump down from up here? Into the pool? Yeah. Sploosh. Sploosh. Come here, bitch. I'm gonna get him. Ow! Hey. That's terrifying. Oh. I forgot. What? Elevator? Oh. Yeah, I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby. Don't touch me, dude. What's taking the elevator so long? Yeah, just I would redo whatever you did, or if you can roll back your settings.
Poison zombie introduction. Constraining the player in a tight space while providing them with a view outward is a useful way to increase the chances that they'll notice something we want them to see. Here, we draw the player's attention with the sound of a wave before the poison zombie itself becomes visible. Originally, this encounter was also the first time players faced poison headcrabs, but as mentioned in an earlier node, we got far too enthusiastic in proliferating poison headcrabs around the level and ended up spoiling their joint introduction. In the end, however, these first encounters worked better as separate instances anyway.
I shoot him. That's nothing to do with your router, dude. I don't think that's gonna help. You're gonna have to roll back whatever settings you did. It's definitely an IP configuration that you messed with. Isn't there a lambda thing here? Am I tripping? I guess not. Take that. Take it. Take this. Take the med kit. Take time to play Left 4 Dead, dude. Ooh. Come on, jump, bitch. I know a lot about networking, yeah. I don't know the specific thing that she did. I'd have to see. I'd have to like IP config all and see what's actually going on. It only started saying this after your Wi-Fi went out and came back. What does that even mean? Like before you edited your registry, your Wi-Fi was having issues? Don't touch me.
Gamma correction. Our game engine has a rendering system that's responsible for taking the entire state of the game and calculating a color value for every pixel on your screen to represent that state. But code and software from other people are involved in the process of calculating those pixels as well. As an example, the software and hardware in your GPU and monitor. At one point during development, we were unhappy with how our characters looked. In particular, we thought that they looked waxy or sickly. Their skin was wrong.
Sickly?
We spent some time tuning our lighting.
I want to
We
see
just
that.
couldn't get both our characters and our world to look right. Luckily, we still had a fully featured software renderer, which allowed us to run the game without a GPU, because this was an era where many players still didn't have one. And looking at the game on that renderer, we noticed that our lighting didn't have the same problem. So we went through our code with a fine-tooth comb, trying to figure out where our rendering code was doing something wrong when it was working with a GPU. After failing to do so, we tried talking to the GPU manufacturers, asking them to double-check they weren't doing anything wrong with the pixel values we were passing them. That was the start of a long journey, and long story short, it was a journey of almost 2 years of back-and-forth communication with GPU manufacturers before we were able to convince them that they were doing gamma correction incorrectly in the low-level map on their cards. During this, we even had to build a system that validated the color values of an individual pixel throughout the entirety of our rendering pipeline. But eventually, at the end, we finally got new drivers back from them, and our characters immediately looked like they should, matching the software render.
That's crazy. That's crazy that happened. So that's what was happening before you did the registry edit thing. Is that right? Also, when your Wi-Fi goes out, it's still connected, right? But not to the internet. Like, it's connected to your router, but not the internet. If that makes sense. Is that happening?
At this point in Ravenholm, the player has learned all the gameplay elements available to them and can predict their interactions. This allows us to build more complex setups, providing a greater level of threat and more freedom in how the player can approach each scenario. This arena is
I'm the blade.
entwined space that the player will need to explore, and we use that
Oh fuck, that was perfect.
ramp up combat intensity. The faster the player explores, the faster we ramp it up. The freeform nature of this design made it challenging to tune, given the large dynamic range in how players played through it.
Yo! I was reading. This one was being patient, and the other one was not. This is the most fun part of this map. For real. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's broken. Like it's not connecting you to the internet anymore. There's so many things that could be happening. I'm confused. Like, from your instinct, what do you think caused this? Like, did you change a setting in your laptop or in your router? Or was it random? Because if it's random, yeah, it's a bad Wi-Fi card. If it's not random and you were doing something, then we gotta trace those steps. Oh, that was a perfect throw. What the freak? Oh! Get away from me. Ow! Dude, that one has a sick freaking throw. I blew myself up. Okay. You didn't touch anything? Yeah, it sounds like... How old is your laptop? Is your laptop super old? And then another thing is, like, did you replace your router recently? Because there could be an incompatibility thing, and maybe you just need new drivers. There's only 3 here, right? Yeah. 7. And your router, is it pretty new? I have a laptop that is 6 years old, and it's never had a problem. It's a Lenovo, like, gaming laptop too. Collateral. Unintentional. You got new stuff when you moved? Oh, okay, we're on to something. When was the last time you updated your drivers for your Wi-Fi card? Have you ever done that?
Playtester archetypes. Iteration and regular playtest were the lifeblood of Half-Life 2's production. Every week, we'd quietly watch over the shoulder of a player going through the section we were working on, taking notes on what worked and what didn't.
No way.
It was important for us to test with a wide range of skill levels, to be sure that we weren't making decisions that only worked for some. Over time, we learned to choose specific types of playtesters based on the development stage we were at. Early on,
A type?
we used experienced gamers, usually teammates, who could handle rough, unfinished areas and were good at explaining their thought process.
That was a good jump.
For combat testing, we'd find players of all skill levels, especially those creative in their usage with the tools. Finally, as sections became more polished, we'd focus on beginners, people who didn't play games much or weren't familiar with first-person shooters. Even if they weren't necessarily someone who might buy the game, we often learned something valuable from watching them.
That's such a good strategy. Also, you should. So, what kind of laptop do you have? First. Am I going there? I forgot what I was doing. No, I've been there. Isn't the goal like near the beginning? Is it that thing? Son of a bitch. I forgot the goal. Is it that? Yes. Okay. An Acer? Do you know what the model is? If not, we can find out. Alright, I'm being a goob. I need to get up there. No! No! I can't remember how to get up there. Now is a great opportunity for her to look, to learn. No problem. This should be an easy fix. Oh, I do need to move that, and I'm being fucking silly. That way I can jump onto that. That's what I thought. That's what I freaking thought. Why can't I remember how to get it there? No way I didn't make that jump, but... Nope. I made it. Is it gravity gun related? What am I'm being so silly about something. I don't remember shit. This is gonna be a blast. Maybe I thought it was this hot. Oh my god, it is. God damn. I need to trust my gut more. For real. I think I first played this game in like 2013, which is like almost 10 years after it came out. That's crazy. I'm very, very late adopter. Don't fucking touch me. freaking goobies. A video example. It shouldn't be that complicated, so. I think it'd probably help for you to have someone help you, though. It's just hard. You need someone in person when it's not connected to the internet. Or something. But right now you should find out how to get your model. Acer Nitro, I'm pretty sure I could just look that up. And you do need to update your drivers. I'm sure that's the issue. Yeah. So the way you fix it is really just typing it into Google and then downloading Acer's official drivers. So your laptop name, you're gonna need to know the model. And like, you probably should update all of your drivers. I don't know what graphics drivers you have, but at least your network ones. Flavor. Did I just go backwards? How am I back here? Oh my god. What? Am I being silly right now? I am. No shoguns. I think you can look at it on my computer. I think you can see the laptop model. An hour? What time is it? It's 12:18. Yeah, I can I don't know. I'm kind of done with this shit, to be honest. That was a fun little revisit, I guess. Let me see. We're doing it live. Fuck it, we're doing it live. Okay. Oh, you're gonna BRB? Alright. I was about to explain something. Alright. Jeez. I'll just message you about it. I'm freaking tired though. That was interesting. Damn. That was a game. That was a fun revisit. It seems like you get gassed in the middle of Ravenholm every time, which is super fun. Get freaking gassed, buddy. Well, I think I'm out of here for the evening. Oh man. Oh, we could play like a bizarre game, but it's freaking 12:30 where I live anyways. So Yeah, I know today was a little different, really low key. I'm sure, and not a lot of people were super interested, but I wanted to do that. I wanted to take a little revisit. It wasn't as intriguing as the documentary, unfortunately, but it was nice to come back for a minute. But I'm gonna go see. So, thanks to whoever stopped by today. I'm sure it was like really nothing. I apologize. I would go over for some stuff, but no one's really here to talk about it, so I guess if anyone cares about tomorrow's stream. For chat night, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Last week was very disappointing to me. So scheduled streams obviously pull more stuff in because I'm doing events and playing games that people are interested in, and yeah. It's kind of why today was slower, is usually a for me thing. And Saturdays are always like that if we do a chat night. But last time I did a chat night, it was very disappointing. So it really, when it comes down to it, if I do a chat night tomorrow, it'd be because I'm bored and I just want to play some games for a minute and don't really care. So we'll see. Always not guaranteed on the weekend. But yeah, no weird Friday today. It was weird by being different, I guess. Alright, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go sleep. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.